Alright, hello everyone, Tactical Lich here, and welcome back to another Wednesday Faction Wars. We are gonna be hopping in for another midweek scrap, and this week we are playing as Siege. I haven't played this faction for a long while, so I probably am gonna suck at playing this, but let's see what happens here. We will be facing off Skyber and Chang in the first game, so let's just hop in. We do have, sorry about the sirens and stuff. Why do we have the Italian brain rot already? Hey. Oh well, whatever. Bombardino, Armadillo. Armadillo? Crocodillo? Whatever. Yeah. Let's go and start picking our factions. We're fighting against Khorne, and that means we will be worrying about that means we have to go for lore. Probably we just want to go lore of metal and just keep dropping final transmutation with a disc. Searing Doom, final transmutation, yeah. I don't know if I want. Let's just bring Savage Call. Probably need it. And you know what? We can probably just spam Blue Horrors. And well, I mean, we can't really just fight Khorne head on with the front line. So yeah. This is gonna be what we do. And get an Exalted Hero Siege with not the Chaos Chariot. Just get a Disc of Siege. Don't think any of these are that useful. I'm just gonna bring Colossal Strike for dueling power. Feed up unit. Yeah, the Book of Secrets doesn't feel that good. We'll drop it in. Why the fuck not? Oof. Honestly, I have no idea how to play. Let's just do that. Get a few. Maybe get a Changebringer. Good luck against Scar Run. No cooking coal. No air cheese. Well, I'm bringing some air units. Just that I'm not good at microing a ton of fast-moving units. So even if I bring air cheese, it's gonna suck for me. I mean, it is air cheese actually. What am I saying? What am I talking about? It is air cheese. It doesn't. Yeah, I've got a lot of strong flying units in there. Our ground force is a bit abysmal. Not gonna lie. Let's just bring Sour Guts and that. Yeah, Knights of Immolation. Just hold them there. Maybe we can just use them to drop some flaming bird poop or something like that. Our best bet is probably just magic. I'll just bring another pick for. There's a ton of firepower. Khorne is a spooky meta for me at least. Yeah, I feel like Siege doesn't really have a lot of good tools to deal with Khorne. Like they can't kite. Technically they can. I just suck at kiting. So there's that. Oh yeah, why am I doing this? Alright, let's just bring the Sour Guts and then... And we're out of funds. But, yeah, let's just take that out then. They're just gonna get punched down anyway, so there's not really a point. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. But yeah, yeah. That should be it. Not sure what's happening here, but probably gonna end up badly for us either ways. We shall see. But yeah, haven't played Siege in a while, so curious to see how it plays for us. Probably not gonna be. It's not gonna end up well, but yeah, I'll see. Yeah. Ooh. Today I am kind of streaming in a bit of a time limit. Unfortunately, I do have. Like, my favorite streamer is retiring after today, so I'm like, oh, I need to catch the last few streams before they go. So yeah, it's like right after streaming the 20, I'm just gonna hop onto another stream and just keep hanging out on YouTube. Yeah, Marauders are 100% going to through your lines. Yeah, I know. Which is why they're just there to dish out as much fire as possible. Like, I'm honestly am not hoping to see them survive for anything longer than like 3 minutes. With everything available on the team side. Yeah. I mean, with everything available on the Corn side, I'm just here to like maybe draw in, just go in. I think I didn't exceed the missile limit, right? I don't think I exceeded the missile limit. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Fruit Rules, what is the missile limit? Fruit Rules limit is missile is 10 or 12. Yeah, yikes. Total range. Wait, hold on. Limit to 12. Okay, we're on 11. It's fine. It's fine. Woof. Range limit. So yeah, it's fine. We're good. We're good. Woof. All right, we're safe. Yeah, let's just bring these bad boys. Good luck. Have fun to Skybrand.
We fight for change! Servants of the changer!
Oh no! Hellforge Bellowers! All my inventory are gonna die! Oh. They're just gonna get shot to death. No! And I can't really get my units close to information either, because Skybrand is just gonna be there. Be spooky. Just come over and drop like a rampage. That's what's gonna happen. 100%. Alright, we're kiting a bit. Just turning on skirmishing mode and kiting. Whatever. Man. Alright, let's just turn that on as well. Oh, we're at it.
Move on them! Scheming slaughterers!
Can we drop a final? Alright, let's just get those. Get them and see what happens. We're still keeping them kiting, it's fine. Skirmish mode is off.
Exalted hero of siege! Moving swiftly.
We're not turning it on yet.
Changing position.
We don't have anything to use it on. And we are not really using our mobility properly either. Okay.
Relocating.
They kind of ignored our saucer who just got close to Skybrand, so I'll take that. He can stay. Sorry, just keep staying with Skybrand.
Darkness falls.
Keep dishing up damage against them.
We fight for change. Sent by chaos. Your will. Yes, Lord. We will ascend.
Apartment in there.
The North decides.
We're not going in yet.
Marauders of Siege.
Keep firing at Skybrand. We probably need to drop in those.
Twisted champions.
Okay, you keep those guys routing.
The North abides.
You guys
With
target
fury
these guys
and
very bad.
vengeance.
And I still need some more time.
Siege, hear my call.
Oh god, my Knights of Immolation are getting immolated.
Orders. Alright,
we're locking them down for now.
Glorious Fierce brutality! Moving swiftly.
Lot of change, just keep slapping Scarbrand.
Murder and madness! Knowledge is power!
Get rid of those guys.
Our siege wills. We are
Jump
exalted!
in there.
We want their eyes!
Storms just keep fighting. You guys
Sent by destiny!
fast anyways, so.
Yes! Followers of chaos! We
you can go.
siege! I know
Psychology.
the ways! We go in fury!
Ouch!
The horde surges!
Alright, you go there and fight that. We still have a lot of
Slaughter them! Scheming
Still have a lot of
slaughterers!
Scarbrand's in and does Scarbrand use the rampage at all? I don't think I've seen. Okay, that's some friendly fire that I would probably just
In ruination!
have it.
Chosen by Zeech!
Storms are still fighting, which is, I mean, they're not going to be fighting for long. There's that.
Twisted champions!
Alright, you can fly back up, I suppose.
To slaughter! Exalted hero of Zeech! Marauders of Finch! Seeking
Ow,
combat!
that hurts.
Untwisted blood! Wondrous suffering! Exalted hero of Zeech! Where Zeech requires.
Oh, everything just rampage. Alright. Time to bail.
Murder and madness!
Don't really have a way to deal with Scarbrand. Just run.
Merchant's good! Give us ruin! Moving.
Can I just drop? How much magic do I still have? 27
Servants of the
reserve,
Changer!
We just have to preserve ammo at this point.
Scheming slaughterers! Doom Knights of Sinch! With purpose! At once! Darkness calls! We fight for change!
We have two models to drop that poop on the floor. Oh, yep, he's dead.
We fight for change!
Alright, let's drop that poop.
Yes!
That's
Dragon
damage!
destruction.
Extreme damage.
Sorcerer Lord.
Yep. You know what? We can
As
probably just
the
charge.
Raven commands! They will succumb!
We can still do some kiting for a bit now.
The
and
horde
see what happens.
surges! Bringing ruin!
Yeah, we still have a little bit of magic left. Should we just use that, honestly? Maybe.
Marauders of Chich! Lead us to mortals! Yes, Lord! Slay!
Alright, let's just do a final transmutation on Scarbrand again. Kill everything left on there.
Changes, Marauders! Death is fated. Men of
Let's
the
do a
North!
final
They
charge on
die!
them. Yeah, that will have to be it.
Twisted champions! We bring madness! Follow the blood!
These two Knights of Evolution, they're still in. They're still fighting, my god.
Conjuring deadly
well.
change!
I guess. Scarbrand is not dying.
Yes! For unbridled chaos!
This was not meant to be!
Let's just go ahead and change this thing here. Scarbrand still has 4 seconds.
They
I think
bring
we're good.
ruin upon us! Servants of
Yeah, just keep running.
changes!
Just keep running.
Marauders
Alright,
of
I think we
Chich!
got it. GG. GG to opponent here. That was tight. My commentary is quieter than game sound. Sorry. Let me just lower the audio on the game and up my mic then. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know about the audio, because I was fiddling around it with it for some other stuff. Yeah. That probably fucked it up a bit, but hopefully now it's fixed, I think. Hopefully. Let me know if the commentary, if the audio is still a bit messed up. But yeah, anyways, look at the performances here. Scarbrand's rampaging was definitely a very, very key tool here to keep my skirmishers from skirmishing. But yeah, Corn, unfortunately, they just don't have a lot of good tools to deal with like a kite build, so maybe more hounds would have been better. But yeah, it is quite awkward for them to deal with kites. We only have 11 missile units, so I think, yeah, we're definitely within the limit here. But yeah, other than that, let's see. Final Transmutation, very key in just killing Corn. Draining down Skybrand, even with the 35% spell resistance, it is still damage. And forcing them to go into those demonic instability, and then skirmishing, they're just doing their job. Even the Furies if the Furies try to like chase after the Murder Horsemen, I had the tools to maybe just fend them off with a Knight of Immolation, or just send in more Horsemen to isolate them and pick them out. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Oh, these are just Blood Crushers. These are not Knights of Brazen Throne. So yeah, they didn't. That's why they I mean, they still murdered my Knights of Immolation there, but having the Exalted Hero just constantly hounding Skybrand and the Final Transmutation, the infantry didn't do much. They mostly just stand there to take the punishment, buying time. Oh well, some of the Blue Horrors managed to get some shots onto Skybrand, giving them quite a bit of value, but overall, yeah, it is mostly the Murder Horses carrying the game here, just spamming missiles and kiting. Yeah, probably I would say, yeah, probably would need more hounds on the field just to deal with the Murder Horsemen, because Furies are decently fast, but I think hounds are still more reliable in catching, just pressuring skirmish cav. But yeah, either ways. GG to my opponent Skybrand here, and we should be moving to the next stage, which let me just pull up the. Oh, okay. Let me just pull up the 20 tab. Okay, I think there's only 2 other players done with their round so far. So I'm just gonna submit my score and see if we have any replay files. GG to my opponent. And we will see if we have. Oh, we already have a couple replays coming in, so let's just check them out while we wait for round 1 to conclude. Actually, round 1 is almost concluding, I think. So yeah, hold on. Okay. Yeah, it's just down to Rusto and Pasha to finish their round, and we shall see what happens. Well, right, yeah, just Rusto and Pasha now. So let me just download all the other replays and just lob them into the replay file so that we can jump right in and check them out after we are done with our games. What else? That's Race versus BM Flower. Yep, there we go. All right, first round has concluded. We're going on to round 2, which we are moving on to Prague as the map. We are fighting Race High Elves. Oh boy, oh, this is gonna be a tall order. All right. Oh man, this is gonna be rough. Alright, cool. Let me just find race and then we can start fighting again. Map-wise, we are fighting on Prague, so let me just change that. But yeah, the game was kind of weird though. I mean our first game, because what happened was most of my army got murdered except my skirmishing cavalry, which is ironically the most expensive bit of my army outside of the Knights of Immolation. Yeah, I think Team Skirmisher 700, and I mean the Sour-Guts is more expensive than them, but only Sour-Guts and the Knights of Immolation are more expensive than them, and that's like 1/5 of my army. Yeah. Yeah, like, and yet I still have an advantage on balance of power, probably because my Chaos Sorcerer Lord was very much alive at that point. Throughout the game, just barely been touched, just staying the hell away from Scarbran, making sure he doesn't get caught by the Rage Embodied. That would be rough if I lose my caster here, but the final transmutation was quite clutch, just draining down Scarbran. And yeah, alright, we're fighting High Elf, so we will have to play this differently. Do we just want to downboard this? You know what? No, not these. Let's just grab a couple Exalted Flamen. And then a bunch of these guys in the front line. I'm quite worried whether we can get those Exalted Flamers into like missile range, but we shall see. We shall see. Do I want to play something with a bit more theme? Like, last time we tried to play with Plogers, this time we can probably try to play with something else, maybe, perhaps? Cockatrice doesn't really have a use in this scenario. We'll need a couple of these guys, and we don't really have much to deal with the enemy mobility. Searing Doom for dealing with archers. Maybe I want someone with fire spells, just to roast through the enemy frontline. Nah, I already have the Exalted Flamers for that. Well, we are also running out of funds, which is not great. Yeah, you know what? We'll just get a few blue horrors there. Just get some more chaff on the ground. Yeah? See what happens, I guess? Yeah. I have no idea how this matchup is supposed to play, other than there was one time I seen people got roasted by the Exalted Flamers. Yeah. The archers and the spears got roasted pretty hard, so yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I can try something similar to that and see what happens. Other than that, we still have 180 gold. Oh wait, I forgot. Just grab these. Why did I even bother with the blue horrors? Yeah, there we go. And we're getting screwed for sure. Let's go. Yeah, we have some extra funds left, so just drop them onto random marauders, and let's go. And hope for the best. Fingers crossed. Cooking Co, another great player. Yes, indeed. Race is a very, very good player. and I barely ever win against him unless he's trolling. But it seems like he might be trolling a bit in this one, so we shall see. We shall see. Alright, I need to self-promote a bit. Yeah, I need to plug my own stream on some other Discord, and yeah, let me just quickly jump over there. Alright, let's see.
Pray hard. The Conquest Marauders.
We push, we rush. Not that there's much else to do with this kind of army. I don't think I have enough to protect the Exalted Flamer, but I will try. Flamers, but yeah. These guys are very key in dealing with the Fireborn.
Unite the powers of change.
Oh, speaking of Fireborn, which kind of Dragon Princess Fireborn reminds me of Dragonborn, like a lot of people say it wrong, you know. That reminds me, I started playing Oblivion lately, and I realized how much Bethesda has dumbed down Skyrim, and I'm kind of mad at them about it, because Skyrim just feels a lot less free, a lot less liberty, a lot less flexible than what you can do in Oblivion, and I'm a bit sad about it, because I spent so much time playing Skyrim as a kid, but then I realized that probably Oblivion would have been even more fun. But yeah, it is Oblivion is I've never got the chance to play it because when I start gaming, it is the era of Skyrim and not Oblivion or Morrowind. So yeah.
Lord Conjurer of Char.
Alright, let's move. We are kind of rushing.
Let us teach them to fear the
180 range. I need to make sure they can actually... They're for some reason not shooting at my flamers, which is good news, I guess. Alright, well, there you go. They're starting to shoot at my flamers. Alright, back off. Whee! Alright, our flyers are getting torn to shreds.
Indeed.
Whee! The Sisters of Avalon! Oh god!
Lord Conjurer of Char.
Not the sisters. Right. I don't think that's gonna work, but might as well. It's just some cheap spell. Yeah, let's just ignore that, and everything starts pushing up.
The schemer's servants. Change is swift.
Alright, you fall back, because yeah, you're not gonna be able to fight that.
Scheming slaughterers.
Oh wow, you're almost dead. Right, that was a bat. Pretty damn bad. Our flyers are mostly wasted. That was not great. That was a pretty poorly played move on our part.
First, it brings destruction.
Yeah, let's just pull back with our...
Like bodies and minds. Chaos. For chaos.
Let's pull back with some of our resources and maybe give them a charge.
First,
Alright, yeah, let's just maybe drop a Searing Doom on these guys. And just hoping... Yep, never mind, he noticed it.
Lord of Change.
Alright, let's just get rid of these Dragon Princes. And see what happens. You guys pull back. I mean, you pull back. Just keep ripping through their infantry and see what happens. They're trying to pin down. Oh no, there are more coming in. Three Sisters of Avalon. Ah, so much firepower. Ah, I can't handle this. Ah. Oh no. Yeah, no, I don't think we can handle this at all. I mean, and partly because I butchered some of the micro, but also partly because we got pretty much countered by the triple Sisters. Like one thing, I mean, the firepower of the Exalted Flamers are great. It's just that they are quite fragile and it's they don't have the longest range. It's not short. It's 150, but High Elf Archer is at 180. More than enough to just dodge those.
Instruments of deception.
Probably should have just went for more mobility, but it is too late to regret that now. Let's just try to play this as well as we could. Not that it's gonna matter, but yeah.
Mutation
Alright, let's charge.
Lord Conjurer of Charm.
We'll be back.
And see if we can at least kill the Lord. Wait, what just happened? Did the Bolt of Change miss? God damn it. Oh, I was too slow at typing. Alright, so one Exalted Flamer did really well, the other not so much, getting absolutely obliterated by two Sisters of Avalon. They all got some pretty decent value. And also the Handmaiden of Everqueen. That is an interesting pick as well, just having the long range fire to pick off my rather fragile single entity Flamers. And the rest of our army not quite doing enough to break through and get to the Sisters, being stopped by two staunch spear units and a ton of rangers, which can trade okay into marauders as well, getting some really nice kill counts. And my marauders obviously struggled, and I mean, I killed one dragon princess. I mean, I think I repelled both dragon princes, but still, the Sisters of like they didn't do the best, but they also did enough like hold on for long enough before I can get anything onto the Sisters, and which also had enough firepower to shot up my Chaos Furies before they get into an air and get to a charging position. Because yeah, they were just staying. Even if I dropped those Furies in, they would have survived just fine. And I probably need something like I don't know, Burning Head? No, that's not gonna happen. I need something to deal with the Sisters, but I don't have any to do so in this build. Maybe I just need like heavy armored Tinged Knights. But if I have Tinged Knights, how will I deal with Dragon Princes? That's also another problem there. But yeah, it's a rough one. High Elves just have way better firepower than us, so we can't just shoot at them. They also have a staunch line of spears to stop any of our melee rush, and on top of that, they just have better mobility than Siege as well. So it's a rough one. I'm not entirely sure how to tackle this, but I can probably give it a think later. Yeah, very well played to Race here, a very good player, and a very creative build as well. I have not seen a ton of Rangers lately, just because it's just not the best unit on the High Elf roster. And the Handmaidens are also rarely seen, but surprisingly effective here, just pressuring my Exalted Flamers. Very well played, and let us just report my my defeat. Or did my opponent reported it already? Yep. Oh wait, nope. Yeah, race got the win. High elves in need of buffs. That is what he put into his challenge register name, and I think that might not exactly be the truth here. Anyways, let's just quickly go into the replays and start going through some of them. I'm on a bit of a time limit. I need to catch some streams later. My favorite streamer is retiring, so yeah, gotta do that before. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Corio versus Scott here. Lizardman versus Beastman in this first round battle. This is a battle from round 1. Corio going for Tan Huan, someone we rarely seen as well. Not exactly the most meta lord, but he does have a ton of Code 1 Knights, Code 1 Riders, which is a very strong cavalry unit these days. Code 1 Spear Riders, 4 of them in fact, and then a front line of Skink Cohorts. Both the non-javelin ones and the javelin ones mixed together. A total of 8 units, and then some more red-crested skink, the court of Sotek, plus a single Soret spear at the very far back, protecting these stalking hidden away Umbral Tide with some really nice anti-arch fire power to deal with the Beastman monster. Now on the other side, wait, Tan Huan on a Reaper mount. Reaper Dactyl mount. We have the standard ground Flock of Doom, which is pretty much what you need anyways, for Lord of Beasts. You don't really need anything else. And on the other side, Scott has a rather tight formation, a front line of Angor Spears, and then a second line of Minotaurs with great weapons, and 1 Butchers of Kalkengard, and a couple more Razor Gore Herds, and 2 more Angor Raiders. As for, actually, yeah, let me just adjust my chat a bit. Yeah. And then there's also 1 Cygor in the middle. That is quite interesting as an army pick. Cygor doesn't see a lot of uses because the damage output is rather limited. The accuracy is not great, and there's yeah, it's very expensive. So you don't really see it often. Like, especially like against Lizardmen, where they're known for their monsters. Like the anti-infantry rock doesn't really fit into a Beastman build. Senegor here. There's some Senegals on the flanks with throwing axes, but already getting hit by Flock of Doom and also the anti-large Umbral Tide, taking substantial damage in the very first few seconds of the firefight, and then javelins are coming back in as well. Yeah, they're not gonna enjoy it. They need to back off as soon as possible. And while here, Cygors and the Razor Gores are just trying to hold a defensive position, which is unfortunately not the best way to play Beastmen. Beastmen are really much known for their speed, their aggressiveness, and their mobility, really good at just kiting and just picking at the enemy's weak spots and hitting them down. But right now, Beastmen are just standing there bearing the brunt of all those Umbral Tide anti-large fire. They don't have much armor to mitigate those explosions, unfortunately, so yeah, taking substantial damage. And the Angor Spears and Minotaurs are pushing up, probably trying to just rely on this little bit of impossible terrain to cover their flank and then start charging forward with their units. But unfortunately, Razor Gore is charging head on into the skinks and then getting exposed to the skink court javelins at the back there, and absolutely getting pin cushioned by all those javelins. Same goes for the Minotaur's great weapons in the front line there. Yeah. You can see the Cygor just not doing a whole lot of damage despite the chevrons. You don't really want chevrons on your artillery. It has a marginal increase in accuracy and reload speed, but overall, you're kind of wasting a lot of value into like melee stats, which are not that important to artillery anyways. Witches of Kalkengard charging in, slamming into the skink forward, but it's a little bit too late. They have used up most of their javelins. And on the right flank of the Lizardmen here, the Umbral Tide having a very safe position here with all the skink cohorts absorbing the Beastman charge, allowing the Umbral Tide to safely sit back and light up those 4 Minos, and they're immediately incinerated by all those anti-large shots. And then the Code 1 Spear Riders coming in on the flanks, pushing off all those Razor Gores and Senegors. I think we can start fast-forwarding things here because a lot of the damage output for the Beastmen are basically dealt with, and now the Cygor is forced to go into melee, being exposed to a melee incursion. And then on top of that, we have the Umbral Tide, who has just been sitting back and absolutely lighting everything up in their way, and now shooting at the Cygor as well. Oh, look at the damage! A bigger yeah, bigger size means a bigger hitbox and an easier target for long-range missiles. So yeah, that Cygor is not, it's really feeling the heat here. Oh, Malagor the Dark Omen leading the army, but unfortunately a lot of these are mostly cheap chaps, so Flock of Doom is gonna do damage, just not exactly game-changing. Especially now, even Ungol Raiders are exposed to enemy melee, enemy mobility. They are now being chased down, and the Butchers of Kelvin Guard here are just gonna go in a head-on charge against Skinks, but then the Twin Spear Riders are closely behind, following a charge into the Butchers and on top of the Umbro side shooting in. And yeah, the Butchers of Kelvin Guard is not gonna enjoy this fight whatsoever. Fighting against so much anti-lock units, and then we can probably just fast forward here, because Malagor is just trying to run and stay ahead of Lieutenant Wood, who is anti-infantry right now due to the Reproductile mount. But yeah, overall, it is just a matter of time before army losses hit and Malagor will be fleeing as well. That is going to be it for this battle. Definitely most of the value went into the Umbro's Tide's pocket, and also the Cohen Riders didn't really need to do much here. Mostly the Javelins did a lot of damage to the monsters, hitting those Minos hard. Butchers, even fighting up an uphill battle, got a lot of kills and a lot of damage. Just unfortunately, Cygor not doing a whole lot of work here. Yeah, you don't really want to bring Cygor. It is more of a boxing tool. Like, you hold a position with a box surrounding the Cygor, but that is not how Beastmen are usually played. They're light armored, they are fast, they're mobile, they want to be on the aggressive side, they want to be using those mobility to probe at the enemy formations, trying to pick out their weaknesses and just rush in with their units and try to pick off some units, get some value. And Cygor doesn't really fit with that playstyle, especially they're so expensive. And then, yeah. That is gonna be this round, round 1 battle, and we're moving on to round 3, I believe. Okay, we got some more replays coming in. Let me just quickly check the brackets. Yeah, we have a round 3 going now. Oh, we are doing things fast today. Maybe I should add another round next week, but that's maybe next week. Let's see. We are fighting against VM Flower, Teen versus Vampire Counts. The last time I remember how to remember a build against this, against this matchup, that's a box build, and I don't really want to play box. So maybe I'll try something else today. We shall see. We shall see. But yeah. Alright, VM Flower has a lobby, so we're just gonna hop in. And we're once again going back onto our Tinge build. I'm not quite sure how to play this one. I think we'll try Mass Missile again. Yeah, I think we'll try Mass Missile again, just because we might need to shoot up a. We might need to try shooting up yeah, I might need to try to shoot up a Mortis engine. Alright, anyways, Final Transmutation, Searing Doom, and yeah, the same old stuff. Disc of Siege, so that you can just keep flying around. And we need a Savage Claw, just because we need that holding power. I don't know if we should bring a Knight of Immolation or just regular Doom Knight and bring a couple. And maybe try to like win the air game with a ton of flyers. Yeah, let's try the melee aerial spam then and see what happens. Yeah, we'll try to dominate the air game Try is the keyword here. Try. Colossal Strike, we don't really need that, I don't think. And we most certainly do not need that, yeah. Oh, actually, we're gonna try this. Try out this ability. See what happens. Yep, Doom Knight. Yeah, we'll try to use a Doom Knight again. Actually, you know what? Just bring 2 Screamers and a bunch of Furies. That might do. Might is the keyword here. Because I have no idea will it work or not. Sort of change, we just keep, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Alright, let's go. I'm not quite sure how this matchup plays out, but we'll try our best. We will try our best. Umbro Tide for the win, indeed. Umbro Tide is I just feel like it's a really not a nice unit. It stalks, it has a really good anti-large firepower, and it has perfect vigor too. Not that it matters much on a missile unit, but it still helps. But I wish we can see more of its cousin though, the Razordons. Specifically the... Wait, what are they called again? Scissorman. The Amaxon Barbs. Nobody ever uses them, which is a bit sad. Like, they need a bit more love. I think there was one time where, oh yeah, that's when Rubber Duck of War was still streaming, not streaming, but making videos before he yeah, ended the streaming, ended his YouTube career. As in retiring, ending as in retiring. Yeah. I think he hosted some activities where players will have to try and get as much damage as possible with certain units, with certain off-meta units, and that was a pretty fun challenge to do, like for a few times, because like you see some rarely seen units where people trying their best to make them work, like and Amaxon Barbs was one of them. A very relatively expensive but very high damage potential armor piercing missile unit, but the short range really hurts them a lot. But yeah, it did some really good work too. Got a lot of damage done in multiple instances where I think when I was playing those Amaxon Barbs, I got, or somebody else, I forgot. But yeah, there was one instance where it was literally just some sisters of Avalon left in the end, and the Amaxon Barbs had to go into melee, just trying to squeeze out some more value from that thing. That was pretty fun. But yeah, anyways, we are ready, so we're just waiting for VM Flower to finish their pick. I'm just chilling here at this point, and just gonna wait and see what happens. And yeah, this is the 3rd round of battle, by the way. So yeah, after this we're gonna have another round, and then it's just all gonna be replays. And hopefully we can decide who is the real winner in this tourney, or else we might need a 5th round or something between the top 3 to decide, or the top 2. I mean, if it's a 3-way draw like last week, we can probably do something like last week again, a free-for-all where I jump in regardless and get a bit more fun action going, get some more fun battles going. We shall see, but yeah. Just kind of waiting for our opponent here. Lab, first time going against lizards in multiplayer. Yeah, Lizardman is a pretty good faction, especially right now where the Koa and the Spears are actually good now. They used to have mediocre stats and just mediocre performance, but now they're actually decent. One of the best, best cavalry in the game, being anti-large armor piercing and has pretty decent armor on themselves. Yeah, they outtrade a lot of other cavalry and are decent in charging infantry as well. Really tough to deal with. And the rest of their toolkit are pretty strong. I mean, we don't talk about the Sauruses, but everything else, we have the Skinks, which are cheap and cheerful chaff infantry, and then some of them even have javelins, which is also a pretty decent damage source, damage output. Yeah, damage output on their units, on the chaff unit, like costing only 400 gold, and you have some decentish javelin damage. And then what else? Skirmishers are cheap and easy to use. They're so cheap. You can use them as like a skirmisher to whittle down enemies, or just use them as a chaff to absorb enemy damage or slow them down or whatever. And the monsters themselves offers a lot of flexibility in your tactics. You can go melee rush with the Croxies, the Croxigores, or you can just go kiting with the Salamanders. Not the best units, to be fair, but still, it is a possibility. And you can even try to bring some bottles for like a disruption. A flying monster that disrupt the enemy backline, that can be pretty good as well. So yeah. Lizardman, I would say, is a pretty decent faction. And yeah, definitely take some time to get used to. Alright, where's my opponent? Oh, what's making tea? Just need another minute. Alright, cool. Hopefully they'll be done soon. Alright, looks like they're ready. So we're jumping in. Let me just hydrate. And yeah, we're on Lost Crater, so not exactly a good map for artillery, not that we care. We didn't bring much artillery and just a lot of firepower. Probably just gonna get swarmed by zombies and whatnot. We shall see. But the main staying power for us are the air core. Hopefully we can get some advantage in the skies, so that we can use them to get the drop on something like, say, a Mortis. Probably we won't see Mortis Engine, but yeah. Maybe we can use them to like counter-attack the enemy Dragon Lord or whatever. We shall see. Maybe they didn't bring a Dragon Lord at all, so I don't know. Alright, we are loading in. Alright, cool. Good to go. Let's just set up those units. You just have a lot of blue and pink hordes on the field. Yeah, you know what? I think the theme of the rest of the stream is just going to be horror spam for us. Because obviously, our only battle is just a horror. Like, our only victorious battle is horror spam. So obviously, we're onto something in that game, right? Right? And yeah, we shall see. Alright, we are ready. I mean, we don't have much of a formation to think about. So, yeah, I think we're ready. Alright. God damn it. CA, why do you make this so annoying? I want the Furies on the outside. Alright, good luck, have fun to our opponent there, and yeah, we're just gonna wait. Looks like our opponent is also done with their good luck, done with their formation, and said good luck, have fun. So we're just gonna move up. Okay, I think I've seen VM Flower.
Destroy these weaklings and deliver them to their fate.
Blood Knights. We can maybe try to send this guy over and try and fight that. Stroking the Forbidden Rod. Huh? Alright, let's see if we can just catch them a bit.
Lord Conjurer of Char.
And Manfred is a slippery devil. Cunning and slippery devil they are. Alright, we hold back.
We are the coming.
Alright, come back and maybe deal with these Bullet Knights then. Brave God, I'm not equipped to deal with that. Damn it. Where are you? Oh, why are you still stuck here? Okay. Let's try to get out. Alright, this is not... I probably should have went for a very much a box build. Whatever. Okay, that did not do anything. Got them.
Exalted hero of siege. Relocating.
Alright, that was a massive formation. What the fuck are we doing? Can we get them caught out of position? No, probably not. Not really, yeah.
Spreading insanity.
Alright, and we also can't do that.
Always changing.
I need that final transmutation like right now, come on! Oh wait, no, not final transmutation, Syringe. Okay, I did more friendly fire to our Furies than to the Blood Knights, damn it. Yep, no, this is not the way to fight, yeah, this is not the way to deal with, Vampire Counts. Alright, that was not great. Nope. Probably a box build would have been better, honestly. But, what's the fun with that? What's the fun in just spamming boxes, right? Oh, immediately when they pop out of the existence, the spawns were just taking a ton of that. You guys go there.
Six all.
Oh, what the hell are you? Let's just try to get Manfred then, I guess. Not that we have much else to do here.
At once.
I mean, our 7th claw can hold on there for a while. We're just gonna let him do that.
Chosen by Zeech. Indeed.
Alright, you know what? You guys can hold off for a bit. Not that it matters.
Change is swift.
And Manfred is just gonna safely stay in the sky and just keep healing. I don't have any way to deal with the infantry. Yep, probably a box build would have worked better. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's just try to finish this with honor. get some damage onto these grave gods and just kill them in the end. Maybe.
Lord Conjurer of Char. Mutation is a gift. Exalted hero of siege.
God damn it. Manfred is slippery devil. Just keeps running away. Alright, can we at least get some damage onto the Blood Knight? And maybe we can just finish? Yeah, do a little bit of a Hail Mary here. Try to save up for that one spell in the end. Yeah, might as well just drop this in there. We have a lot of clubbing happening. Hey! Why the fuck not? Alright, let's just do this. And kill everything in the vicinity. Are they coming in? Are they coming in? Alright, let's go! Tier 3 bombardment! We're gonna kill everything in here, including ourselves. Look at the damage! It's not gonna win us our game, but yeah, you know, it's fun. It's fun. So much damage at the same time. Final transmutation into everything in the vicinity. This is so dumb. Alright, let us see what else we can do here. Just look at this blob being absolutely drained down and bombarded everywhere. We still... Okay, never mind. I was gonna say the Severed Claw is still fighting, but no, they're not. They're not. Oh, they're going down. Alright, let's just drop another Bolt of Change and just try to squeeze out some more damage before we go. Boom! More damage! Let's just keep holding on to that balance of power from the sheer damage we're dealing with spells and abilities. I mean, we're still kind of catching up, but we're out of spells and abilities now. No more. No more! And Spirit Leech is just gonna drain out the last bit of our health. No! No! And we don't even have... I mean, we have one more Searing Doom left, but that's about it. GG's our opponent there. The spells, the bombardment, we did so much, but just not enough. Oh. Alright, we did pretty bad with this Teenage Army. Did a ton of damage with the Final Transmutation and Searing Doom. And tier 3 Change Bombardment ability, but yeah, it's just not quite enough to pull this game back. We need to do a lot more. So yeah, conclusion, definitely go boxing. Just go for the Chosen, and yeah, just go for a bunch of Elite Chosens and Severed Claw and just hold on for forever against the Vampire Counts. Probably the best bet in this matchup. Even then, we still need to figure out a way to kill off Manfred. So maybe Knights of Immolation is a good call here, actually. Yeah, maybe like something like yeah, let's see, Knights of Immolation, and then just that, and cut the Sword of Change maybe, and cut that. Just cut the expensive stuff, I guess, and yeah. Maybe figure out, like, just have a Chosen holding the ground, one Sour Guts to just keep shooting at whatever they want, and what else? Maybe, just a regular one maybe. Turn off metal shifting. We still need 100 gold. Or maybe. Or maybe a Chaos War Shrine. A Siege War Shrine would be an interesting idea, actually. Huh. Arcane Conduit and then Pink Fire just to keep clear out the chaff. Yeah, this might be an option here. Yeah, this might be an option. Yeah, but it's gonna be a boring box build to grind, so it's not that I really want to play with it, honestly. Ooh, this would be neat. Clean magic. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe something like that would be neat. A little bit of damage resistance. Pink fire. Freezing doesn't work well against the undead. Yeah. Maybe blue fire. Or maybe just get another Marauder chaff unit. Yeah, probably we'll have to go box build again. But anyways, that's it for our round. And we are moving on to the fourth and final round where we are playing against Pasha here. Yeah. Looks like Race is taking the lead on the leaderboard. Can somebody defeat him and bring the outcome of this round, 4-round Swiss, into a tie? Or is Race just going to reign supreme in this tourney? We shall see. Either ways, we're not getting the we're not getting the championship in this tourney. So we're not becoming the champions of this tourney. So yeah, we'll just try our best to play another game. But wait, we're playing against Pasha. So I need to find them. Oh, they have already messaged. Hey. All right. Let's hop in and get the game started. One more Siege battle, and we have a ton of replays. Wait, somebody brought a Death Herald. Haven't seen that guy in a while. In a Nurgle game. Alright, anyways, let's just jump in and figure out what to do with Kislev. Kislev, a lot of archer fire. I don't like this. We can try Exalted Flamers again. Not necessarily gonna end well for us, but you know what? We can bring one instead of two and hope for the best. And front line of Marauders, ton of blue horrors, maybe another sour guts as well. And we're out of money. Damn it. We might still want to keep Final Transmutation and Searing Doom though. But we probably can just go on to a Chaos Steed. You know what? We can bring something else. Chaos Wall of Siege, which is an anti-large. Chaos Steed, Colossal Strike. Change or die, actually. The rest doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's just grab change or die. Ooh, barrier replenishment. I'll keep that. I'll keep that on him, just so he doesn't have to fight without support. We need a caster though. The front line is probably gonna perform rather poorly against. Yeah, let's just forgo the front line there. Let's get some flanking Forsakens and a caster somewhere. Yeah, I feel like one problem with Siege is they don't have any cheap mobility. And there's nothing cheap to like pin down enemy cavalry or harass enemy back line other than Furies. And Furies are not exactly great in their role. Probably can easily get beaten up by Kossars in melee, if there are enough of those around. Either ways, bring a cultist and get some burning heads on our way. Wait, no. Not burning heads. We need something with better armor piercing value, so we might need a Siege caster. Fuck it. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. Well, let's just, if we're memeing, might as well just go full meme. Yeah, let's just go. That doesn't matter. We'll deal with whatever RNG gives us. Fuck it. But yeah, I'll just give up the Exalted Flamer idea, bring a few more cavalry with us then. Yeah, let's just do that actually. Knights of Immolation, get them to drop some flaming poops and then be done. Yeah, alright, let's go. And let's see if the meme pick is gonna work here. Just gonna meme this one. Nobody ever uses him. Well, I've seen this year. I've seen exactly one player use this guy, but yeah. The Blue Scribes isn't exactly a popular choice in any case. Wait, are we playing on land battles? Oh wait, no, never mind. Still Conquest. Good. This means I can actually try to do some kiting. Not the well, hold on. We don't have anything to kite. Never mind. Never mind. Wait, Ashen at dawn? I feel like I've never seen this. Because normally when I play on Ashen, it's always at night. It's always at night, and it's always dark and it's hard to see anything. But hey, we can actually see things now on this map. Okay. Alright, we are melee rushing, so there's not really much tactics involved here. We don't even have much mobility. Just this group of Zandigors and Knights of Immolation. Alright, there we go. Done. That's our entire army deployment. Wait, hold on. Why are you... Yep, that's fine. Yep, that's our entire army deployment. We don't have anything else to play around with. I wish we do, but that means we are paying. That means we need more funds than what we've actually got. So yeah. All right, there we go. We're done. Ready to go. It's Kislev. They don't have aerial forces. We can keep the Blue Scribes safely in the sky. Ready as well. Good luck, have fun. Alright, we rush. We rush. We charge. And hope for the best. What spells do we have at the beginning? Missile Mirror. Ooh, Missile Mirror would be nice. That would be funny. Wait, what does it do? Ooh, okay, let's get an over. Pervade the Nesh. Oh, this is actually pretty neat. But I can only use one of them, and then they're just gonna go. I want to use all of them. Oh no! It completely refreshed everything. Every cast. Right, our opponent seems to be taking a more passive stance over this. We'll just and hold on to the capture point for a bit. We can't really take on their mobility, unfortunately. The Wing Lances with Griffin Legion, yeah, they're way better than us. What we can do is try to capture the point and shift our army back a bit, and then start pressuring them. All right, we start moving up.
Taking ground. Shifting position.
Alright, everything charged in.
Searching for battle. Marauders of change.
turn around.
Blessings of Zeus.
And wait. Where are you going? Come back. I want you guys to come back. Where are you going? Don't run away from me. Don't run away.
Of Zeus. Followers of chaos.
Alright, what else? What spell do you have now?
Technologists. Advantageous.
Alright, let's see. Let's just get our units above everything. A big pitch engagement. Best for cooking. Right on their heads. Alright, we get some damage done. Unfortunately, everything is just dying in the vicinity. Swivel Jet, not useful. Skittle Elite, not useful. Ew, Ancestral. Get something. Ooh, Final Transmutation. Ooh, that might be neat. All right, everything's just dumped. We're just dumping everything into the vicinity here. Our Forsaken is winning, kinda. I need that Final Transmutation. I need it kinda soon. I just don't have enough Winds of Magic here.
Zeus is chosen. Blue scribes.
No! God damn it, I took this fight a bit too prematurely. Okay, these guys have to go back into the skies. And maybe find somewhere else to... They're running.
The changer's chosen.
I need the Final Transmutation, damn it!
Rising. Lord of Zeus.
No, we shouldn't. Oh, I mean, we took the fight a bit too prematurely, and that's probably still the end. Like, all our infantry are a bit too busy there pushing the enemy flank, and we don't have enough support, and got overwhelmed. That was yeah. I was too happy with the. Yeah, I got a bit too excited over the pavane. And we didn't have enough staying power to deal with those Griffin Legions. Just got out-traded entirely. Alright. It is what it is.
I have my master's favor.
Alright, let's just get a successful summon.
I wish I could cast them.
Oh, that ain't working. No! You're running away. Ah, well. Probably should have missed Almira the belt seas.
Send Young's faithful.
Too late now. I think that is it. That is GG.
Very well.
Yeah, they were just gonna get
Defenders of
poked down.
Cafe.
And yeah. That is gonna be GG though.
Withdraw. Hold.
Never conquered.
I need. Yeah, maybe. What I needed was actually Chaos Knights to help my lord to do something in the fight there.
Not me.
Glorious brutality.
The Apotheosis that ain't gonna help anything. My lord is getting escorted off the map. Perfect. Not that it matters.
Order and balance.
Alright, let's just keep shooting, whatever.
Just do it.
Dwellers below! Can we at least get a spell out? Come on, man. No, we can't. Oh, I could have almost activated it. Damn it. We got some decent damage done, but we just couldn't outgrind the anti-large frostworm and all the Griffin Legion and Wayne Lancers in the vicinity. GG on my opponent there. Very nice fight, and I forgot to save our last battle. That was unfortunate. But yeah, that is gonna be the end of our run. Seems like we only managed to win our first battle there. The other three are all a little bit of a disastrous outcome. I mean, I did bring Blue Scribe, so I kind of asked for that one. Yeah. But yeah, Blue Scribe, sometimes you just get some pretty funny spells. And it's quite fun to use them once in a while. But yeah, obviously not against a player with a very well-equipped Kislev army build. What else? What could I have played better? Maybe I should have just sent those Forsaken into the fight instead of trying to get the mobility engagement going. Because obviously I was at the underhand there. They have the upper hand with all the mobility, the healing from the Patriarch, the Ice Witch being on a Frostworm. They have better mobility presence than me for sure. While I probably should have just wait for their Winged Lances to commit before throwing in my Sandigors in. Because you can see they didn't really do much here, unfortunately. And most of the damage was actually done by the characters. And Knights of Immolation and Forsaken. Yeah, the Forsaken probably has the better performance in this battle. And unfortunately that's not saying much here since all of my units didn't really get their worth. But yeah, GG to my opponent there. Very strong mobility core, and the Scout Siege just peppered down my stuff with all their AP fire. I did manage to break through multiple places with the Forsaken and the Marauders, just unfortunately not quite able to deal with the mobility, and that lost me the game. GG to my opponent there, and I think that concludes all 4 rounds of our run. We just need to wait for the other players to get theirs done as well. But I think we can start jumping into the replay files. GG to Pasha, and yeah. The question is whether Race will reign supreme. Because he is the only one with 3 wins so far. He needs another win to seal his 4-win champion. To seal his deal as the 4-win champion of the 20. But that means that will depend on whether Archangel can defeat his High Elves with the Empire. Now, before we go into the, before we get to see the outcome of the entire tourney, we should start checking out some of these replays. Pinkbeard versus Archangel going with Empire versus Pinkbeard's Norska. Archangel with yeah, wait, hold on. Norska is Wolfric Elspeth von Draken. Archangel going with that Deathcaster Lord with a bunch of state troops and some Knights of Blazing Sun. Having the fire damage comes in really handy against Skin Wolves. Just exploit their fire weaknesses and cut down their self-regeneration healing. Also, Knights of Blazing Sun has really high charge bonus at 78, so they can do some really impactful damage on the charge against the lightly armored Skin Wolves. Other than that, Empire Knights, state troops with swords and spears in the front line. And then we have some Outriders as well, which is an interesting pick. They are not exactly the best skirmishing cavalry, having rather questionable accuracy despite their high volume projectile. Not high volume, but the sheer volume of their projectile, of their volley projectile counts. They just don't do that much damage in a single volley due to their missile spread. Anyways, Elspeth from Draken is flying on her Carmine Dragon with the laser breath, of course. Darkwalker, Death's Timekeeper, Doom and Darkness, and Spirit Leech. All pretty good spells against Norska, especially Doom and Darkness, can terrify those Marauders away with the Terror on her Dragon. Or the Norscan side piece of Tashna, Ice Wolf, Moles of Savagery, Regiment of Renown, Skin Wolf that has Frenzy and immune to Psychology. A front line of Marauders there, with some of them Marauder Berserkers and some Javelins at the back, with Miss Dockers providing some solid anchor in the Marauder front line. They are anti-infantry, armor sundering, so they can trade well even into armor sundering and armor piercing, so they can trade well even into Empire cavalry. Now at the back there, Wolfric is already falling. Oh, he must have eaten. Yeah, he must have took like a coruscating breath in the face. Yeah, that is rough. And a Spirit Leech, and then if there's a wait, Death's Timekeeper coming in, he's just gonna die soon. Yeah, see, you can see he's down to 1/3 of his HP. So it is. Norska pretty much is on a is on a bit of a time limit. Luckily, there is still a boat from Norska, from Wolfric there, nuking one of the spears, allowing the Marauders to push through, but Elspeth is nearby, just dropping the terror onto the Marauders, forcing them to pull back for now. And now Elspeth just moving on to a different position and maybe try to get a different engagement. Here comes the Empire Knights though. The Knights of Blazing Sun are also moving into a flanking position, moving into the rear of the Norscan army, while the Empire Knights over there taking a flake of rust overcast and got their armor nuked down, unfortunately taking more and more damage from the anti-launch skin wolves, but they are still holding on, just pinning down those skin wolves, preventing them from moving on to the Emperor's, the Empire rear end, while the Knights of the Blazing Sun are posing for a rear charge, but finally they're activated. Well, things are getting quite messy here. State troops piling in, Knights piling in, and the Marauders, the wolves are all getting pushed back. Seems like the Norscan leadership is taking a heavy hit. Wait, is it because... Oh no! Wolfric died. Yeah, Wolfric died. Wolfric went down. Which explains all the leadership issues on the Norscan side. Especially then they're followed up with a Doom and Darkness upgraded version, making... nuking all the leadership of all these Marauders and monsters. And oh my god, that is a brutal break for the Norskans here. Everything starts routing, Marauders straight up shattering. And that is probably their first rout as well. That is quite painful, and Empire Knights are on the far side chasing on those routed javelins, which is the biggest threat to Elspeth here. You can see some javelins are chucking some anti-launch missiles onto Elspeth and starting to do some decent damage, but Elspeth is quite focused on hunting down the remaining spellcasting ability of the Norscan army, hunting down the Shaman Sorcerer, and now Elspeth is able to move on to the next target. There are still some Skin Wolves and Ice Wolves roaming around the backfield of the Empire army, but the problem is that they don't have much leadership remaining. Both of the characters have died. Elspeth is now terrorizing the poor Skin Wolves over here, who do not have immune to psychology, and due to their frenzy wearing off. Most of Savagery still holding on. Oh, they have okay, they have physical resistance. Wait, hold on. Hold on, I forgot what does most of Savagery have that the regular Skin Wolves did not. Oh, they have Vanguard deployment. That's it. That is quite sad. Never mind. Either way, the most of Savagery, they are armored, they have Vanguard deployment, but unfortunately, yeah, they are getting surrounded and overwhelmed. Marauders Berserkers are duking it out against enemy cavalry, but they don't have much armor, so they are still kind of stuck, being held down by the enemy Knights of Blazing Sun and Empire Knights. Just Knights of Blazing Sun, and with a third unit of Knights of Blazing Sun charging into their rear and flank. And that's probably the end of these Marauders, while Outriders are still staying safely away from enemy mobility, just peppering down enemy units with their missiles. Though it seems like the balance of power is shifting back to the middle here. Suddenly, Empire units are running low on pretty much everything, except their leader. But once again, Elspeth proving her Terror and Doom and Darkness combo a deadly 1-2 punch. Dropping in with her Terror and also nuking those leadership with the Doom and Darkness and Fear. And yeah, everything starts routing once again before the Norscan army due to that overcast to the darkness. There's still some pockets of Norscan forces still fighting though. And the Ice Wolves catching these Outriders and slowing them down with the Frostbite, allowing the Skin Wolves to catch up as well, dragging down those skirmishers and equalizing the balance of power a bit more. Miststalkers seem to have recuperated their leadership here, and there are some Skin Wolves surrounding Elspeth as well. But the routed Norscan troops are have proven to be a bit of a problem for Norska, because they're out of position and unable to support the monsters in the middle. Miststalkers are still fighting on strong against the enemy. Well, not exactly strong, they're teetering on the verge of routing, but seems like their leadership has stabilized a bit. All Elspeth decided to move on and try to hunt down these Marauder Hunters. No, they are almost out of ammo anyway, so I don't think that is exactly a priority. Bigger problem are these Skins who are still fighting, but the Knights of Blazing Sun should provide very nice support against the Norscan monsters. And at the same time, Norskins are just running out of pretty much everything after that big break. Piece of Tashna has been shattered despite still having some HP and over half of their models still on the field. Models of Savagery are getting drained down early, but they are doing a counter charge into the Knights of Blazing Sun, trying to just work down these tattered Empire mobility and then try to secure an advantage and get a surround on Elspeth. Elspeth getting charged by the Ice Wolves has been slowed down and oh, never mind. The Skin Wolves are just busy fighting, breaking these Knights of Blazing Sun. But here comes an almost full health unit of Skin Wolves, who has just been chasing down Outriders, getting some decent valor, but not exactly earning back their worth. So they really need to prove their worth here to go after more valuable targets like punching down Elspeth. And some regroup. Marauder Berserkers have fully activated their stage 1 Berserk ability, getting extra physical resistance and melee attack, and should trade really well into the state troops. And Elspeth getting dragged a bit, getting a bit bogged down in this kind of melee engagement, surrounded by Skin Wolves striking her from behind. Suddenly, balance of power shifts into the favor of the Empire massively. Everything breaks, and despite losing their leadership, losing Wolfric early on, Norska managed to claw this one back, partially thanks to all the healing on the Skin Wolves, and the Wolves of Savagery holding on till the end, and this one Skin Wolves just being fresh in the late game. Javelins did a lot of damage. These Javelins, MVP of the game, just absolutely dragging down Elspeth, equalizing that balance of power by cutting off her HP, which occupies quite a bit of a portion of the balance of power there for sure. Knights of Blazing Sun unfortunately got a bit of a messy engagement, didn't really get a clean charge onto the Skin Wolves. But yeah, had a really strong start. Empire had a really strong start, but Elspeth alone seems to struggle quite a bit against all the Skin Wolves and Javis. And Empire didn't have the resource to deal with everything, because Outriders unfortunately is probably a waste of resources in this kind of scenario. You don't really want to bring Outriders against Norska, personally, I don't think. Norska has way too much mobility, Ice Wolves, Norskan Warhounds, and then there's also Marauder Horsemen that can counter Outriders really nicely. But it's an interesting attempt with these skirmishing cavalry. So there's that. But yeah, the Marauder Berserkers did okay in the end. Earned back their worth at least. But yeah, the characters didn't do too much here, but man, these Skin Wolves and the Javelins did so much heavy lifting. But yeah. I want to jump back right in for a bit there. Give me a second. Just check some stuff out, fast forward. Like, I want to see what the very healthy Skin Wolves were doing throughout the entire game. I caught a few glances on the unit, just tracing off routed units on the periphery. But I wasn't entirely sure what exactly they were doing. Because they have not seen too much damage throughout the entire battle. Yeah, just getting to the Death Timekeeper's coruscating breath and just died. We're just charging in and just trying to overload the flanks, piling on all sides. And Empire definitely had a strong start if they could have delivered those charges a bit earlier and just get some earlier breaks. Okay, yeah. And Wolfric just got clean killed there, and suddenly everything breaks on Noskin's side. Oh no! The Empire does not have the resources to chase off all those fast routing units. That's partially why they did it. They allowed Noska to just recover a bit. And also once the Doom and Dark knows where's all the units aren't routing it. Oh, the Skin Wolves are just here. Yeah, they're just chasing off routed units. And trying to pile onto some isolated pockets of state troops. While the Berserkers just keep duking it out against the enemy troops. And okay, yeah, that makes sense. They were just chasing off routed, retreating Outriders, which the Outriders cannot fire back when they're routing due to not having 360 shooting. And yeah. The Skin Wolf just keeps holding on to regeneration, and the Marauders Berserker duking it out against the Empire Cavalry, holding on with their Berserk and slightly more elite leadership than regular Marauders. Big Doom and Darkness, but unfortunately Empire just did not have the mobility to chase down the router units. A lot of their mobility are committed to melee fights and just got attrition down. So being thrown into a charge and just stayed there until they all got killed. That was a mistake. A lot of these Knights of Blazing Sun just charged in and just stayed there until they got dragged down in melee and prolonged melee. They need to be constantly cycle charging to deliver their charge impact. And oh no, these ones are trying to attack Murder Hunters and not fighting in the Skin Wolves. And just got them killed, unfortunately. And now Elspeth alone is not exactly the best fighter in the world. And then the Skin Wolves are just coming in to clean them up. Yeah. Alright, cool. Next up we have... Oh, actually, let me just check what's the outcome of the 20. Scott and Pinkbeard are still fighting, but seems like Race has very comfortably won the tournament with 4 clean wins against all his opponents. Congrats to Race for the win. Very nicely done with the High Elves. And yeah, High Elves obviously does not need more buffs according to the performance of Race. Race in his username registered on challenge says High Elves in need of buffs. But he has proven otherwise. So yeah, looks like High Elves doesn't need more buffs. They're OP now. Yeah. Let me just quickly... Skin Wolves, my beloved. They are indeed a very nice unit. Just having that regeneration is so key. Like, they are... Unlike Trolls, they have okay-ish leadership. Not as bad as Trolls. And they are faster than Trolls. They're a decent mobility unit. Decent charge. And with specifically anti-large, which makes them quite versatile in killing cavalry and monsters. And yeah. They are just ridiculously good at sustaining themselves throughout the long course of battle. Also, their physical resistance helps. And yeah, very nicely done. But yeah, despite still having one more battle in round 4, I'm just gonna conclude. I'm just gonna announce the end of the tournament because we already have a winner. We're just gonna announce a winner. Let me just make that announcement, and I'll quickly jump back into casting more replays. Congrats to Race for the win. Ah shit! I should have taken the reference. Yeah, I should have taken the inspiration, the idea of Tequila Sunset's cast. And sorry for spoiling the end of the 20. I should not have done that. But yeah. Anyways. I'm just gonna quickly make the announcement on the 20, and then we are gonna jump back into casting the rest of the battles. Alright, cool. Announcement done, and we're jumping into the next battle. Race versus Flower. Race going with, once again, we are seeing some Sisters of Avalon on the battlefield. Staunch line of spears with 5 spear unit, 3 rangers, 3 archers, 2 of them Sisters of Avalon, 1 of them the Talons of Torquelada, 3 Illyrian Reavers, and 1 Fireborn. Leading the army is a High Mage, I believe is an Apotheosis caster, or a Firecaster, either one. Probably Firecaster? I tend to believe it's a Firecaster. Yes, Archmage of Fire with Burning Head and Flaming Sword of Ruin with the Book of Oath to get some power recharge. On the other side, for the Undead, front line of Zombies, second line of Skeleton Spears with some Grave Gods with great weapons, ready to cut through the enemy infantry with the anti-large bonus, anti-infantry bonus, and armor piercing. Not that there's much armor on the other side, but still, they are anti-infantry. Probably I would just bring regular Grave Gods with the, just to get their shields. And their non-armor piercing anti-infantry is already good enough against High Elves. But yeah. Either ways, we have the Dire Pack on the far side. Black Knights and, Black Knights with Lances and Barding. Skeleton Spears, Crypt Horrors, which I don't think is a great choice against the High Elves, since they don't have much armor and can be very vulnerable to enemy spears and missiles. Especially when the missiles have fire damage. And their regeneration makes them quite weak to that. Anyways, the zombies are moving in, just trying to pile onto enemy infantry and just keep them in place, allowing the Black Knights to deliver some rear charge. But here comes the Fireborn, ready to deliver a devastating blow to these Black Knights with their anti-large AP. The Illyrian Reavers are also moving into the Black Knights here, trying to screen them out. Rangers are moving closely behind. High Elf Spears are also pushing in, so a lot of piling on all sides. But yeah, the Fireborn are just slamming in, absolutely obliterating those Black Knights on the charge, already cutting down 1/3 of their HP. Dire Pack are jumping onto these Illyrian Reavers, a little bit of a slack in micro from race there, allowing them to get caught by the anti-large Dire Wolves. But overall, the Sisters of Avalon are very well screened. Some skeletons are being dropped onto the Sisters of Avalon, but they're holding on just fine, taking minimal damage against these skeleton chaff, while they themselves doing substantial damage across the battlefield, chipping away Manfred's health and also doing some good damage to the Necromancer with the Forbidden Rod. And then immediately after dealing with the Black Knights in the front, the Fireborn just quickly returns to the back line there, help the Illyrian Reavers to beat down those 4 Dire Pack. So overall, yeah, I think High Elves do have an advantage here. All the Spears and Rangers are holding on just fine against the Zombie and Skeleton Chaff. Even if the Grave Guards are in, they still take quite a bit of time to get through all those High Elves, while the backline Sisters are all just shooting freely with nothing really to stop them right now. Finally, some Crypt Horrors have been activated, pushing through the front line. They're getting to the Talons of Torquelada. But all they need to do, the High Elves need to do, is just turn around some Sisters and start peppering them down, and that should be the end of those monsters. They're still busy shooting at Manfred, who's now taking the shot, so a little bit of waste of their ammo. The Illyrian Reavers are moving on against the Crypt Horrors, as the skeleton summons have faded away, using the mass of the cavalry to pin down the Crypt Horrors so that the Sisters can retreat. And overall, the Fireborn has done some substantial damage, killing a bunch of Dire Pack and doing a lot of good damage, rear charging into the Grave Gods with the AP charge bonus. So yeah, very good work by the Fireborn, but they need to pull out there. Maybe not, actually, they can probably just stay there and finish the Grave Gods. But yeah, now the Sisters and Talons are all bogged down in melee, thanks to the Crypt Horrors and Zombie Summon. Just all trying their best to get into the backline, but this might not be enough. The Crypt Horrors are still stuck against a bunch of Illyrian Reavers, and now the right flank of the High Elves are mostly secured. Fireborn are still picking out against some zombies and... oh wait, no, just skeletons now. And did some nice damage to the Black Knights once again. A Spear Leech onto the Archmage, a bit too late now. She's still very much healthy. And Manfred is just trying to dodge, still trying to run away from the Sisters of Avalon, trying to dodge those AP shots, unfortunately. Black Knights getting through the High Elf left flank, jumping onto the Sisters of Avalon. They might have a better time at working down those Sisters of Avalon here. But will that be enough? I don't know. There's still a whole Fireborn here, and Undead have no way to counter it. With the Undead build, I feel like the only way they could have dealt with the Fireborn is to let the Fireborn charge into something and all 3 Crypt Horrors jump onto them. That's probably the only way. But that's very difficult to execute. Yeah, that is a very difficult tactic to execute. So yeah, I don't think they could have done that. Now that they are literally unstoppable now. Just killing Cryptors and Undead Chav wherever they go. Now they are even getting their hands on Manfred. Oof. That is probably going to be the end of Manfred there. Black Knights have Lances and Barding. Doing decent against archers, but they themselves are not that tanky anyways. Especially they're quite tired, exhausted, and they have their armor debuffed by the bigger levels. And that shall be it. That shall be victory for the High Elves. I believe Manfred just went down somewhere there. To the 5-1. Wait, is that Manfred? Is that Horse Manfred or is it just Black Knight? I can't see anything. I can't see anything. That might just be a Black Knight. That might be Manfred. I'm not sure. Like, where is the person riding it? Oh wait, no, that might just be a Black Knight with the shield over there. That's a Black Knight's shield. But yeah, overall, it's pretty rough for the Undead to break through this kind of layered defenses. They only have, I feel like the Undead are kind of a one-trick pony. Send in the chaff and try to hammer the enemy from behind with their cavalry or monsters. Which, the layered defenses of the High Elves are really good at. Just holding back the zombie chaff and then whatever mobility and monsters being sent in will just get mopped up by a crossfire of archers, or the Fireborn and mobility comes in and pin them down. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Probably, I don't know. I honestly don't know how to play this matchup as the Undead these days. Huh. Actually, wait, hold on. Maybe what you can do is bring... Now, I feel like the one faction that needs the most help right now is actually Undead. Because they need something to give them a bit more flexibility in their tactics. Instead of always the slow-moving, just inching forwards attempt. Trying to grind through the enemy front line when everything from the back line, with all the missiles, just punish them to hell. But yeah, you can see the Black Knights just didn't really do much there. When they charge in, either they're being stopped by spears and Elite Reavers, or there's a Fireborn unit always ready to jump on them, giving them a counter charge and absolutely wreck them in a fight. And then the Necromancer got absolutely obliterated by the sheer volume of Sisters of Avalon Fire. Manfred also not having a good time trying to dodge, trying to juke those shots, but still getting hit by a stray arrow here and there, and eventually being whittled down. All the mobility of the Vampire Counts unfortunately wasn't quite able to break through the enemy defenses, while the Sisters of Avalon just freely sit back and keep firing, raining down punishment at the enemies until maybe some zombies and skeletons being dropped into the back line. And yeah, they were being charged by the Black Knights for a bit as well in the end. But overall, just got quite decent value throughout the game, especially the Talons of Torquelada. Earning back their value and then some more. And of course Fireborn carrying, and then the Spears and Rangers holding on the front line and there. Not a lot of damage or on the Archmage, but she's mostly there for the burning hits. And a lot of Flaming Sword of Ruin as well, adding that damage power, adding that weapon strength to their units, and also activating that Kindle Flame in the back pocket, giving everything a weakness to fire on the other side of the battlefield. Yeah, I think that is it for the files we downloaded so far. Let's just get the rest as well. Round 2 battles, and then we have round 3 replays. We might not have every single replay, so I'm just going to try to cast as much as possible. But yeah, no guarantees if I have everything. Because some replays might be deemed yeah, some players might deem certain battles unfit for casting, so I just so they would not they won't submit that, which is absolutely fine. Absolutely fair. Rangers losing to Empire Spear. Wonderful. That is a peculiar occurrence as well. Okay, round I think that's a round 3 or round 4. Wait, no. That's a round 4 because it's Empire versus High Elves. Right, we have a lot of stuff to catch. Alright, cool. Yeah, let me just, we have a lot of replays, so, yeah, let's go through them. Alright, sorry, let me just, sort out the files at the back end. Hello, David. Welcome. Welcome to today's midweek 20 stream. Okay, we have quite a few files that came in. Let's see. Alright, I think we've seen these. So, yeah. Kislev Kite versus Skull Ticker. Oh no! Oh no! Korn's getting kited again! Kislev Pasha here, going with a full kite army. 3 horse archers, 3 light war sleds, I think. These are light war sleds, right? 1 dervishes and 2 wing lances of Griffin Legion. I think that's the same mobility core we've seen earlier from Pasha. Ice Witch on Frostworm and yeah. And a Patriarch. Let's slow down a bit there. Yes, it's the same. With Solar's Lullaby and Da's Song of Winter Sunlight for figure refresh and healing, keeping those units fighting in tip-top shape. Ice Witch of Tempest with a Swift Wing to add that charge bonus. Oh, okay. This explains why the Wing Lances were doing some, or the Griffin Legion were doing some pretty decent damage in the fight, and why they would receive a buff before they charge in. Hawks of Miska as well, providing that leadership debuff, which it can be quite useful. Yeah, that is it. These are light worthless indeed. For the Korn army here, a frontline of Murders of Korn. Blood Shrine of Korn, Hellforge Bellowers, which is already getting poked by the light worthless, taking quite some damage. At the back there, Flesh Hounds, Flesh Hounds, and Flesh Hounds, and on the other side, kills Knights of Korn with their shield. And with Skyla, Angry, Enfingrim, and Skull Ticker leading the army together. That's a lot of blood bikes. Double Blood Shrine, Skull Ticker on his own Blood Shrine, and then another Blood Shrine on the other side. This was definitely an anti-infantry build, and might struggle a bit against this kind of kiting moment. Skyla activated his ability, his rampage ability. Oh, trying to rampage things that comes into contact with him. And it seems that he has succeeded with the horse archers, forcing them into a rampage, and now they're stuck and getting slaughtered in a head-on fight against all these Chaos Knights. They can't get out of there. Even if they try, the Chaos Knights will just keep pressing on. And more shots coming in. This time the Hellforge Bellower is actually doing some decent damage against the Light War Sleds. Just that the Light War Sleds are returning fire, which means the Hellforge Bellowers might want to run again until it reloads their next shot. But yeah, very nice catch with Skyla there. I didn't realize Skyla causes rampage on impact with his ability, and that is a really nice catch. Killing off one of the skirmishing units already. If Korn can get a head-on engagement just staying in the long fight against the Wing Lances, the Chaos Knights probably can win this, but yeah. They can't just keep getting shot at and whittled down. But yeah, right now, everything just piles onto this little block here. Let's slow down a bit and see what's happening for a bit. Bloody Onslaught being turned on, so these Griffin Legion are being nuked down in both armor and defenses, and are taking more damage. Patriarch is also taking some damage. At the same time, Skull Ticker being on the Blood Shrine should give attack, revel, and slaughter buff to surrounding troops, making them even deadlier in melee combat. So the Chaos Knights of Korn are doing some damage on the charge. Skyla is also fighting, and even the Hellforge Bellower is trying to get some HP back by using that core piece ability. Wing Lances are taking a ton of damage in the process, receiving the brunt of the Korn melee charge, but The Chaos Knights of Khorne getting hit by the Hulks of Niska, being discouraged, having a massive minus 16 leadership unit. They're terrified by the presence of the Ice Witch. The Terror plus Discourage 1-2 combo is just such a deadly 1-2 punch. On the other side though, Flesh Hounds are indeed fast enough to catch up to the enemy Ice Sleds. Despite having slightly slower speed for some reason. Because they're tired, I believe? No, Freezing Winds. Is that a spell? Is that a spell passive? Oh yeah, it's a spell passive from the Ice Witch. That explains. But yeah, otherwise they had more than enough speed to catch up to the Light War Sled, and the mobility managed to keep those Light War Sled at bay, actually finishing dealing with 2 of them, or actually 1.5 of them. This one here is stuck against a bunch of Flesh Hounds, and Chaos Knight not having a good time playing bumper cars with the Khorne bikes. But yeah, the Chaos Knights continues to press on while the Horse Archers are in a bit of a sticky situation trying to pull back. They were probably dragged into melee earlier, and now the Griffin Legion are all forced to go into a fight here. Because the Wing Lancers got hit by Skyla, who definitely activated his kill for Khorne ability earlier and get that content effect advantage. Really nice. They're forcing Kislev to take those unfavorable engagements with that rampage effect. But here comes the Coastline Dervish, more Kislev forces dropping in. But I think Kislev really needs a Hulks of Miska right now to just push back those Knights of Khorne. But yeah, right now the blood bikes are all in and just playing Conquest Mode, grinding down this blob of Kislev like troops, and the Wing Lancers are not enjoying it at all, taking more and more damage with every hit from the blood bike. And the Light War Sleds as well, taking more, also being pressured by the Flesh Hounds. There's one very healthy one came back, but then another Flesh Hound spotted it, and they'll just probably move over and try to kill it in now. So overall, the Light War Sleds are not in great shape. And the Wing Lances, they're all just stuck in this fight. Even some Flesh Hounds made it behind them and jumped onto them, and preventing them from retreating. They're now sandwiched between a rock and a hard place, or maybe like 2 relatively flimsy but very awkward places. They themselves not having any strength to break through this kind of surround. They're now just surrounded, overwhelmed, and dragged down in melee, leaving the 2 characters in. But at this point, Kislev decided to throw in a towel, knowing that they cannot outgrind Khorne in this kind of pitched battle. After losing all their mobility, with only the Ice Witch and the Patriarch left. And the Patriarch is also on the verge of breaking too. GG's both players, very nicely executed by Khorne here. Skarbrand the Exile. Oh, and Skarbrand himself. Skarbrand the player, Skarbrand Chan. I did not expect Skyla to I totally was not aware of the rampaging content effect of Skyla here. And that was a very nice use of the ability. Forcing those engagements from the Kislev side. This actually gives Khorne a pretty neat second tool to deal with enemy kiting outside of only Skarbrand. And because Skyla is actually smaller, he is in less of a worried of getting shot and skirmished down by enemy missile cavalry. Yeah, this actually is a pretty neat tech. I wonder if any streamers have covered it already. Not sure. But yeah, very nicely done with the Flesh Hounds getting some decent damage, and the Chaos Knights were able to get the engagement they want, having the support of Skulltaker and his blood bike, the Revel and Slaughter. And they're just duking it out against the Kislev cavalry and working them down through the melee grind, and the Kislev were just not able to earn back their value. And also the Horse Archers, the Light War Sleds are all heavily pressured by all the mobility. Yeah, all 3 of the Flesh Hounds. And the Light, I feel like, what could have been done is probably, I don't know, maybe when the Flesh Hounds were busy going after the War Sleds, the Horse Archers and Dervishes can charge into them. But then again, they were kind of occupied by the push of all the Marauders and the Chaos Knights earlier. Yeah, very neat tech. I might actually, that makes me want to cast it, actually. Maybe I'll do it at some point later, but yeah. Next up, we have Beastmen versus Empire. Once again, Elspeth from Archangel. This time, for Scott, it's gonna be, once again, the boxier Beastmen build. 3 Angora Spears, 2 Angora Raiders, 2 Centaurs, 2 Razor Gores, 2 Great Weapon Minos, and 1 Butchers of Kelgar. Once again, Cygor and Malagor the Dark Omen. Archangel here going with Elspeth. I feel like it's going to be on the Carmine Dragon again. Indeed, that is. Oh, the Cygor is like the prime target for the Coruscating Breath. Oof. It's probably gonna die soon, especially Beastman does not have anything to threaten Elspeth in the sky. Like, there's nothing to drag her down to the ground, there's nothing to fight her in the sky, and there's nothing to immediately shoot and kill her. Angora Raiders can try to shoot her, but it's not going to be fast enough to kill her entirely. With all the physical resistance, missile resistance on her, and then the Angora Raiders themselves not having a lot of missile damage to begin with. They're in the end a non-armor piercing missiles with low missile strength. So, yeah. As for the state troops, we have a front line of spears and swords, a second line of Free Company militia. So these guys should hold on just fine if there's any like hounds or harpies try to harass them, or even if the melee the missile Sentinels try to go into melee with them. But they should hold on fine, and it can produce some okay-ish missile attacks. While the mobility here, to fend off the Beastman mobility, Empire Knights, Royal Aldorf Griffites, and yeah, just all of these Empire Knights and Royal Aldorf Griffites. Elspeth herself coming in with Death's Timekeeper, Dark Walker, Fate of Buna, and Spirit Leech, plus Coruscating Breath. We can probably expect a Coruscating Breath on the Cygor? No? Okay, she's just busy, yeah, she's just busy draining down Malagor's Dark Omen there, I think. But yeah, spears are getting charged by the Minos. Not exactly the best use of the Minos, but yeah. Butchers of Kelgar are charging in, everything is just slamming straight into, trying to get through the front line of the Empire and get to the back line and shut down the Free Company militia. But oh no, these Butchers of Kelgar are a bit isolated. Not only did they receive a counter charge from the anti-large elite Royal Aldorf Griffites, they're also being crossfired by a bunch of pistols. Elspeth on Drake is in herself. Great Weapon Minos managed to break through the spears, but they themselves taking quite some anti-large damage in the process. More and more Beastmen are breaking through. This is definitely a better approach than trying to box over Beastmen, but Witches are taking a lot of casualties. They managed to terrify the Free Company militia. Wait, but the Royal Aldorf Griffites does not have that kind of concern. They are immune to psychology after all, or at least... Well, yeah, they are immune to terror because they cause terror themselves. And they're now breaking those Witches with the help of Elspeth. Minotaurs with great weapons themselves, they are a little bit too distracted by other targets fighting a bunch of infantry and Empire Knights. While the Butchers have been isolated and finished off. Beastmen still have some units on the side there, breaking the weaker flank of the Empire army, as most of their mobility, their more expensive units are focused on the left flank. However, I don't know how can they kill the Royal Aldorf Griffites at this point. They lost almost all of their Minos. The remaining ones are also on death's bed. Well, we are seeing Elspeth just killing the rest of these Minos here who are trying to get out of there. Throwing axes is probably the best bet against the Royal Aldorf Griffites and just kite them out. But they're kind of wasting your ammo on the chaff. And Free Company militia trying to finish off the rest of these 5 models of Butchers. Malagor still flying around, dropping those Flock of Dooms. Wise choice. Staying away from Elspeth, from Draken, and just keep dishing up damage with the Flock of Doom health drain. But yeah, the Cygor at the back might be the game-changing factor. I don't know. Like, maybe he can get a rear charge onto the Royal Aldorf Griffites who are too focused on killing out or something. I don't know. But yeah, looks like, oh no, the Angora Raiders are getting chased off by the Empire Knights with nothing to save them. Throwing axes are being chucked onto the backs of these Empire Knights, but it's gonna take time for them to finish them off, and time is not exactly on the side of these Angora Raiders who are running for their own lives. Free Company militia is getting drained down. Probably a better cast to just drop the Flock of Doom over here on this side. Doom and Darkness onto these Free Company militia, but not quite enough to drop them into routing territory. You want to drop it onto something that is almost routing, just to force a route instead of dropping it on a high leadership, with a unit with more leadership than 16. Because at that point you're dropping the leadership debuff, but it's not bringing any effect to the battlefield. It's not doing anything. Like, you need the route to actually trigger for the leadership debuff to count as something. Otherwise they're just there. They're not like they didn't trigger a route. They didn't force an enemy to break off. They don't use up one of the 3 times of routing that a unit can have. Yeah, they don't use up 2 of the remaining chances that the unit can return. Yeah, basically, when you use a Demon Darkness or any leadership debuff, you need to make sure it puts the unit into a routing territory. Oh, here comes the Coruscating Breath and a Death Timekeeper, immediately shattering the cycle with the help of the Rot of Griffiths. And that is gonna be it. That is pretty much just clean up against the Beastman forces at that point. A lot of the forces of the Empire, are just breaking through and cleaning up those weaker pockets of the Beastmen, and the missiles are just getting pushed back by the Empire mobility and not getting a whole lot of value overall. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think throwing Minotaurs into an engagement head first is a good idea, especially when there are a lot of missiles nearby to just whittle them down, and there are like raw out of Griffites ready to just countercharge them. A better idea is probably just to send in the Angora Spears first, and try to and then get those Razor Gores into the back lines through the gaps of the enemy infantry, and then once the enemy activates their mobility, you can countercharge with the Butchers and whatnot. And the Cygor, unfortunately, definitely not paying for themselves in this engagement, due to not having the greatest accuracy, and also a lot of the value of the Cygor was paid into the melee stats. Unfortunately, just the melee power of being a giant war beast. And you're not actually extracting any value from it because it's just been sitting at the back there and throwing rocks and not actually doing anything in melee. Sorry, just look out a little bit of a runny nose. Okay, yeah, sorry. And Elspeth did a lot of good damage with the Spirit Leech and the Coruscating Breath, and mostly the heavy lifting was done by the rollout of Griffites, taking barely any model losses. Took a lot of HP damage, but not a lot of model losses, and just killed off a bunch of Butchers, and then finished off the Cygor in the end as well, doing a lot of heavy lifting there. And the Free Company Militia also earned back their worth, since the Beastmen are mostly lightly armored and just having a decent trade with the missiles. Yeah, that is it for this one. Next up, yeah, we have Lizardmen versus Norska. How many? Yeah, okay, we can finish in like an hour or 2, I think. Kurio here going with Lizardmen versus Pinkbeard's Norska. Kurio going with Nakai the Wanderer. We haven't. It's Wanderer versus Wonder. Nakai the Wanderer versus Wolfric the Wanderer is a battle of Wanderers and deciding who is a true Wanderer of the Into the Wall Warhammer 3. Okay, here we go. We have once again multiple skin cords. 3 of them regular ones, 3 of them javelins, and then we have some salamander hunting pack, 2 of them in fact, which can be pretty good against no-skin monsters, as long as they are lightly armored. Even if they are heavily armored, they're not that impressive in terms of armor anyways, at like 80, 90. So the anti-launch damage can still be very substantial. Yeah, and on the flank, Koan Spear Riders providing the anti-launch armor piercing, Legion of Chaguasaurus Spears providing a very solid backbone. They're protecting the Bastillodon with Rev Crystal. And if they get shot by javelins, they can just turn on the Shield of Chakra, adding that 40% missile resistance there, keeping that Bastillodon alive under the javelin fire. Ooh, but the problem is I'm more worried about the Salamander hunting packs taking javelin fire. But at least they're outranged to the javelin, so they should be able to stay safely away. And yeah, I think that's it. That is. Oh wait, that's not it for the Lizardmen. Court of Sotek there, and a Beast Caster with Flock of Doom. Yeah, that is it for the Lizardmen army build for the Norskins. Wolfric the Wanderer versus Nakai the Wanderer after all that. Nakai going with Primal Roar Golden Tributes, which gives Figure Refresh and is very useful, especially in the late game, keeping your units fresh. Miasma of Despair, and yeah, that's it for the Lizardmen. Wolfric the Wanderer on a War Mammoth, and with Fight or Die, that's basically almost his full toolkit. Sword of Torgold, Hunter of Champions, Fight or Die, and Sea Fang. A front line of Marauders, second line of Javelins, and mobility in terms of Skin Wolves, Ice Wolves, and one single Giant. Wait, no. There are more skin wolves on this side here. And yeah, that's it for the army builds. Let's get the battle started. The spellcaster is a Shaman Sorcerer of Mantle with Searing Doom and Plague of Rust, which can be really useful. Plague of Rust is a really nice combo with Skin Wolf, lowering the enemy armor so that the Skin Wolf's non-armor, piercing, and T-Large can be more useful in battle. But already a bolt from Warfare would miss that. Absolutely nuked out in the skin cohorts. Just reducing some of the chaff in the front line there for the Lizardmen. And the Marauders are now trying to move into battle and pressure those Salamander Hunting Pack. Javelins of the Skinks are shooting into the Marauder Hunters with the Javelins. And the Skink Javelins are definitely getting better trade here, since Marauder Hunter Javelins do not have shields, unlike the Skinks. And they're more expensive. So the damage they took is unmitigated and are just more substantial in terms of impact. Salamander Hunting Packs are sitting safely back there, just nuking that North-Skin Giant with the anti-launch damage. And over here, Skin Wolves 2-on-1 against the Cohen Spears, and yet they're still unfortunately taking the worst end of this engagement. Probably got a chop. Oh no! They got an attacking or movement order onto somewhere else, so they were not actually fighting the Spear Riders, and instead of getting attacked, they're just trying to push through and taking a lot of free damage from the Cohen Spear Riders. That is not good at all. And yeah, Marauders being driven back by Skin Cohort as well, taking a lot of damage from the Javelins, and Salamander Hunting Pack doing some explosion damage. Even if they're not shooting at large targets, the explosion damage of those fiery projectiles can be quite useful against infantry blobs. Now they're switching over to try and shoot Skin Wolves, who you can see are absolutely annihilating these Cohen Spear Riders thanks to the Plague of Rust reducing their armor. Though they themselves taking quite a bit of damage at the same time, but overall, seems like the Lizardmen is getting, seems like the Lizardmen are getting the upper hand on the balance of power here, pushing back two Skin Wolves on the far flank. These Skin Wolves are coming back. Yeah, probably trying to go after the Salamander Hunting Pack now that there is no more mobility to stop them. But oh no, they're attacking orders. Stop! I think that was a misclick. Probably clicking the space next to the Salamander Hunting Pack, so that was a movement order and not an attacking order. And the Skin Wolf stopped just short of charging into the Salamander Hunting Pack, and now the Skinks are coming in and stopping them from pursuing their targets, and might actually just break them off as well. But at least Warframe does not have that concern. Oh wait, no! Warframe decided to go after the Ref Crystal, exposing him to... Oh no, that might expose him to the Salamander Hunting Pack. Anyways, the North-Skin Giant is in the front line, smashing some poor Skinks, and Marauders should hold on just fine against Skin Cohort. The problem is that the Salamander Hunting Pack are now free to just shoot at whatever they want, not really anything to threaten them right now. Skin Wolves trying to go after the Salamander Hunting Pack, but they are the unarmored version, and that means they took full damage from all these flaming shots, anti-large especially. So there's anti-large bonus, there is fire damage that exploit their fire weakness, and yeah, they got absolutely nuked. Even if they charge into melee, I assume these Salamander Hunting Pack are in guard mode, and that those point blank fire is enough to break off these skins. So very unfortunate for Norska there. While all their javelins, their best bet in killing off those Salamander Hunting Packs, have been driven back by Skinks. And Searing Doom here, overcast version, trying to kill off some of these Salamander Hunting Packs. Unfortunately, not able to kill them off. Still a lot of model kills and HP damage, just quite not able to finish the job. And yeah, one of the Salamander Hunting Packs were able to finish off the North-Skin Giant. Over here, Marauder Hunter with Javelins are still busy running away from Skinks, and yeah, overall, the Salamander Hunting Packs did carry the game quite a bit. Getting some decent damage. Okay, not exactly carrying the game, but the Javelins and the Javelins were able to push back the enemy front with Flock of Doom health. And then the Kai there helping out, just beating up stuff wherever he goes, not doing some okay damage as well. Mostly just fighting Cap, and that is still some decent damage done. Another Plague of Rust trying to nuke down the Basilica Gun with the Skin Wolves, but unfortunately, they just got terrified away by the Dino. And yeah, I think we can just fast forward here, as it is just Wolfrek here trying to hold on to the balance of power, and got crossfired to death by the flaming anti-large shots. Actually, yeah, let me just quickly jump back in. Okay, let me just check this game once more, just to see how they broke the Marauders so fast with only Skinks. I want to just confirm. I assume it's Nakai dropping in that Primal Roar, but I gotta see. I gotta confirm first. Fast forward here. Okay, yeah, the Salamander Hunting Pack did soften up the enemy front line a bit with the explosions of their projectiles. And then that guy goes in. Did he turn on Primal Roar? No, he just swing himself into the Marauders and, yeah, just start beating them up. And yeah, with the Salamander Hunting Pack providing fire support, the Skinks were able to push back the enemy Marauders. And over here, despite the Cohen Spear Riders lost this fight, the Legion of Chakra was right behind them to block off the incursion of the Skin Wolves and Ice Wolves, forcing them to pull back while being shot by the Overwatch of the Salamander Hunting Pack. So overall, very nice defense coordination from the Lizardman player there, keeping those Salamander Hunting Pack safe with the tiers of Skinks and that one Saurus. And Cohen Spears holding the flanks there. And while the Skink Cohorts push back the enemy front line and keep those javelins away from the Salamander Hunting Pack. And I think we can just fast forward to the end, while Wolfric get absolutely nuked down by various anti-launch missile there. That was a rather quick. Let's see, army performances wise, I think, yeah, the Salamander Hunting Pack did some solid damage, while the Cohen Spear Riders and the Skinks were mostly just holding the line, except the Javelin Skinks, I guess, trying to whittle down those Marauder Hunters from afar, giving them a taste of their own medicine, Javelin versus Javelin. And because Skink Cohorts have shields and are cheaper, it is a better trade for the Skink Cohorts to shoot down the Marauder Javelin Hunters with their own Javies. And yeah, Court of Soltak also did some really good damage as well. Oh, I didn't really see what they were doing. I guess they were just out trading the enemy Marauders and Giant. Yeah, and then they were just oh yeah, they also went back to push off some Skin Wolves as well. So there's that. And then the Skink Cohorts just keep chasing off, pushing back the enemy Javelins, making sure they can't threaten the Salamander Hunting Pack. So yeah, that is a GG to the to the Lizardman player. Very well played, while unfortunately the Noskins struggle to break through the tiered defenses. The first layer of Skinks, second layer of Skinks, and then Cohen Spears on the flank. While the Salamander Hunting Packs just keep dishing out damage. Unfortunately, the Noskins were unable to break through that one. Next up, we have Empire versus Khorne. Archangel versus Scarbrand. Archangel going with a line of spears, 3 Outriders, one of them the grenade launchers, 3 Empire Knights, World of Griffites, and 3 characters. Call Fronts, haven't seen this guy in a while. And then we have the Life Jade Wizard, I assume with Regrowth to heal up the World of Griffites, and Call Fronts, and also an Engineer, which is a very deadly skirmishing tool. Having that repeater rifle that shoots a volley of armor-piercing missiles with decent missile strength. Is also a small target that you can't easily counter fire, and quite swift and agile, having a long range, just a very deadly skirmishing tool. Outriders in the front end, yeah. And the grenade launcher Outriders can also dish out some serious pain regardless the enemy are infantry or cavalry. And on the other side, okay, actually, what does the Healthcaster do? Yep, regrowth only for the World of Griffites and Call Front on Death Claw. For the Khorne army, a front line of Forsaken, ready to just rush down the enemy state troops. A little bit of anti-large armor-piercing presence with the Minor Tools of Khorne, which can be quite vulnerable to the enemy Outriders due to their larger model. And in the skies, Exalted Bloodthirster. Are we seeing an aerial engagement between 2 duelists? We shall see. Fleshhounds, 3 of them, and 1 single Karanak with his net and a Fleshhound summoned. And also the Brass Collar to silence enemy. A couple units of Murder Horsemen with ring axes, and they are really good tools to keep the pressure onto the Outriders there. As long as they have the charge order, attacking order on the Outriders, and maybe even a melee order, they can either they'll force the Outriders to pick between 2 horrible choices: either turn tail and run while not doing any damage, or being dragged into melee, which they will lose that melee fight against Marauder horses. So yeah, Outriders are quite worried are definitely rather vulnerable to enemy skirmishing cavalry in that kind of sense. Anyway, speaking of the Outriders, they are doing some really good work against the Forsaken, nuking a quarter of their HP down. And the Khorne army is trying to shift the focus towards the enemy right flank and their left flank, trying to do a little bit of wrapping around and perhaps overload that Empire right flank. All the Empire shifting their forces over to the other side and trying to do a counter wrapping to break off these Forsaken on the other flank. Looks like Fleshhounds are going after those Outriders, but they do have to be careful. There are a lot of troops of the Empire nearby just to screen off these kind of mobility threats. And the Exalted Bloodthirster is also getting poked down by the Engineer, taking some noticeable damage already. Now the Throwing Axes are being forced to retreat. The Spears are nearby the screen, and they're just wasting a little bit of their Throwing Axes into some ineffective targets. Well, it looks like the Fleshhounds are going for a charge into the Outriders, trying to catch them in melee, and the Outriders were not able to retreat in time. They did do some pretty good damage, but yeah, now the Empire Knights are counter-charging in, trying to pin down the Fleshhounds in this fight here. More Fleshhounds are committed to this fight, and well, Karl Franz trying to take the fight to the Exalted Bloodthirster, but the Exalted Bloodthirster absolutely walloped him in melee. But now the Outriders are showering the Exalted Bloodthirster with those AP missiles, and he's definitely not enjoying it. While Karl Franz getting a little bit of a second win from that regrowth, trying to refresh his vigor and his HP. Oh no, the Bloodthirster definitely needs to back off there. He's taking more and more damage. He took more damage from the Outriders than fighting Karl Franz, which is not great for him. Now the Minos are in the front line, while the Forsaken are getting almost dealt with. World of Griffith charges into the front line there, but yeah, the Minotaurs are making short work of half of their HP. Yeah. So both sides taking a lot of damage, and Throwing Axes are providing some fire support in this fight. Now the Exalted Bloodthirster joining into this fight and trying to hack down Karl Franz. This will probably force the World of Griffith to pile onto the Exalted Bloodthirster. Not sure, but right now with the Exalted Bloodthirster on the ground, that means Outriders are free to turn around and just fire whatever they have into him. And yeah, the Exalted Bloodthirster definitely not enjoying this, taking a ton of damage. Murder for Horsemen with Throwing Axes are now breaking through, trying to put down some pressure onto the Outriders, with Fleshhounds flanking around, getting perhaps into the rear of these Outriders. No, they need to get into the other Outrider unit as well. Okay, we are seeing some regrowth onto the World of Griffith. Unfortunately, they just got struck. They just got hit by the Bloodthirster, which has fire damage, and that cuts down their healing by half. Unfortunately, so their regrowth is a little bit wasted, not getting as much healing as they wanted. And Khorne is still trying hard to scrap this one back. Balance of power is in favor of Empire because of their intact skirmishing forces here. Still able to dish out a lot of damage. But yeah, Khorne is still trying to pull this one back as much as possible. Unfortunately, Karl Franz is quite healthy thanks to that one regrowth in the earlier game. Fleshhound just entirely disappeared due to the charge of Outriders. The entire unit faded back into the warp, and now they can provide a little bit of melee support even. Just trying to distract and pin down the Bloodthirster so that the other Outriders can just crossfire onto him. Yeah, this is rough for Khorne. Once the Exalted Bloodthirster goes down, I think that is going to be the end here. As they're unable to shut down the enemy skirmishers, and now the grenade launchers are just nuking down the enemy infantry without anything putting pressure on them. And the Exalted Bloodthirster is being driven back, and I don't think they have much more to give in this battle anymore. Karanak, unfortunately, being pinned down on the far side, and a bunch of Empire Knights. So Karanak is probably done for as well, just being dragged down. And maybe Bloodthirster want to go for a one last hurrah against the Empire, the Emperor of the Empire. Nah, that sucks. That is a horrible way to put it. But yeah. Anyways, maybe he wants to go for a final round against Karl Franz, but nah, he's just running away, fading away from reality. As Empire has managed to struck fear into the demon's heart. GG to both players here, and seems like Empire got a pretty solid win thanks to their healing, saving Karl Franz from dying for the mistake of taking a fight to the Bloodthirster. And then, of course, the World of Griffith getting a lot of damage done, but mostly Outriders getting, just trying to whittle down those Khorne troops from afar. yeah, mostly the heavy lifting were done by the raw out of Griffites and the Outriders here, especially the grenade launchers. Actually, I might jump back into the replay just to see what the grenade launchers were up to. Exalted Bloodthirster getting some decent damage value overall, and but unfortunately not able to recover their own worth. And the Minotaurs getting some decent damage done into the world of the Griffites, but unfortunately not quite able to finish the job because the Forsaken were just breaking under the pressure of the state troops and Empire cavalry, world out of Griffites and Karl Franz himself, and grenade launchers, of course, breaking their ranks with those deadly explosions. Karanak unfortunately not quite able to do much, and yeah. Just quickly jump back in to track the grenade launchers for a bit. Give me a second there, and then we'll be moving on to the next replay. Alright, let's fast forward. Because I want to just make sure to keep track on the grenade launchers. It is a pretty neat unit that can do some extreme burst damage given the chance, just like that. Absolutely obliterating those poor Forsaken. And Archangel did a really good job in keeping them alive, just keeping them safe behind the melee infantry, the melee cavalry, even just sacrificing some of the Outriders to screen for the grenade launchers. And they can even, oh yeah, they also, as I said before, they also do really good damage against cavalry because of the explosion, striking multiple models at once. So even the cavalry, like the Murder Horsemen, just take a ton of damage from those explosions, and then they just keep sitting back, having the infantry, the Empire, state troops, and the knights buying time for them to sit back and dish out the damage and turn the fight, infantry melee fights around for the Empire army. Next up, we have Beastman versus Nurgle. We can expect a lot of missiles. Nope. Looks like Beastman once again is bringing up their Cygor box. Pretty much the same build, so I'm not going to spend too much time covering it. Spear Angors, some Angor Raiders, Sandagors, 2 Razor Gors, 2 Minotaurs of Beastmen, which is a Calvin Guard Cygor and Malagor in the skies with Doom and Darkness. Yeah, once again Doom and Darkness and Flock of Doom. On the other side, for the demons, we have a bunch of Chaos Warhounds, a full mobility build. Holy shit! A bunch of Chaos Furies and Angels of Decay on the ground, Rot Knights, and Rotting Riders. Regiment of Renown, which has something similar to the Blessing of the Lady, a damage resistance of 15% that will disappear once their leadership is broken. There are also some wait, hold on. There's also a Herald of Nurgle leading the army. Alright, so looks like we have some Cygor firepower getting thrown, but as I said before, their accuracy is shit. So just entirely missing those fast-moving hounds and whatnot. Flock of Dooms are in progress. A little bit of mistake here. You don't want to track the Flock of Doom onto one unit. You want to make sure the Flock of Doom covers as many units as possible. So it could have covered both Chaos Warhounds and give you double the damage value in that one cast, but unfortunately that was missed out on. That was not great. Anyways, more rocks being thrown, and this time knocked out a couple Warhounds. And their Minotaurs was just guarding the cycle in case the Furies decided to drop in and shut them down. The Angor Raiders needs to start shooting at the Chaos Furies and try to whittle them down before they got dragged into melee. Because otherwise, this will happen. They get dragged into melee and now they can't use their missiles. Like, instead of retreating, they should have just beat their ground with everything holding maybe a box. Since you're building a box build anyways, hold a box around the capture point and hold the ground until you win. Either in terms of tickets or in terms of balance of power. Because like when you're retreating, you're not doing damage with the Angor Raiders, and they're just constantly running away from these melee threats and not doing damage, wasting a bit of time and giving your opponent more time to work on your formation. And especially your units are retreating so far away. They are not supported by friendly infantry. They're kind of separated. And unlike domination, you need to, in land battles and conquest, you need to make sure all your units are fighting together, because if one unit gets separated, they won't receive any more reinforcements, they can't be resummoned, they're just gonna get chased off and killed. But at least over here, the Butchers of Kalgankar are getting some really good damage done and chasing off the kills. Warhounds, the problem is that they're getting charged by the Rotting Riders. And Rotting Riders are also anti-large armor piercing as well, and the Butchers of Kalgankar take a ton of damage from that charge. They're trying to fight back, but that damage resistance and the elite melee stats of these Rotting Riders are holding on just fine. Both sides have regeneration, so healing is not a factor. Both sides cancel out each other's healing here. So yeah, and the Butchers are falling behind on that damage output, and yeah, quickly obliterated. As more of their unit models dies, they fall they lose more of their damage output. And at this point, I think it is a pretty clear victory for the Beastmen, for the Nurgle army here. Beastmen are trying to claw back, but a lot of their units are just scattered around, and Beastmen, having that mobility advantage, are free to pick off any isolated pockets, or just avoid any stronger targets, and just not fight them. Pick off the weaker targets and just force that army losses by eliminating enough of their opponent's army. Yeah, against a kiting or a mobility build like that, you want to make sure your entire army fight together and isolate your units, separate your units as little as possible, because your opponent has the mobility advantage, and your opponent has the mobility advantage, and your opponent has a mobility advantage, and they can just freely pick off your units while you don't have the speed to fend off your enemies and save your routed troops. So yeah, it's a pretty handy victory for the Beastmen here, with the Rotting Riders getting most of the damage value, and of course the Herald of Nurgle of Death with the Spirit Leech and Fate of Bune, I assume. But yeah, a lot of damage value from the Furies as well, chasing off routed and isolated units. Alright. Not much to talk about for that one. We can probably delete these. We can probably delete these two. And some of the other earlier replays as well. I think I'm just gonna cast this Kislev versus Skull versus Horde battle here. But yeah, other than that, let's just jump into the next battles. Beastmen. We've seen that one. We can delete that. We can delete that as well, since seems like Nakai is a true wonder and not Wolfric. Alright, have we seen these? Okay, that's we fought that one, so we can delete that. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. Yeah, everything else I don't think we've seen. Oh wait, we can delete that. Okay. 5 more replays to go. Lizardmen versus High Elves. Right in. Alright, Kurio here going with Krogar. Yeah. Krogar with the Hand of the Gods and Speed of Itza. 5 units of Javelin Skinks and 4 Spear Riders. Koan Spear Riders. 2 Salamander hunting packs once again. Seems like Kurio is really taking a liking for the Salamanders. And then double solar engine. So a lot of firepower on this build. And just gonna have the Skinks hold the line and trying to use the Salamanders and the solar engine doing all the damage here. And yeah, Krogar. Skink Priest of Beast with Flock of Doom and Flock of Doom only, which is quite nice if you have an blob heavy army, but blob heavy opponent. But seems like the High Elves are not exactly going heavy blob. Oh man, this High Elf army build is so reminiscent of earlier. Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of Game 2 High Elves, a front line of White Lions, which is very good against Lizardmen. They have armor, so they trade well into Skinks, and they have missile resistance, so the Skink missiles will be mitigated against them. They also have loose formation, so artillery doesn't hurt as much against them. What else? Not loose formation, but definitely looser than your usual spear wall. Yeah. And they have armor piercing, so they trade decent into the medium armor of the Sauruses, and also do okay against dinos as well. So yeah, Overall, White Lions are traced as the front line, 5 of them, in fact, including one pure main, no pure main combat, just 5 White Lions. Elite Reavers, one getting absolutely deleted by the Hand of the Gods, I believe. Yeah, that's definitely a Hand of the Gods shot. Yep, one use has been used, because like if it's a solar engine, it would not have been spread horizontal. It would not have spread like perpendicularly from the direction of the laser beam, because it's just going to punch through the formation. But Hand of the God spreads across the formation, which is why you have like a row of dead bodies on the field. Anyways, the rest of the army here, double Dragon Princes, one of them the Fireborn, and also one Elaren Reaver, and Imric on his Star Dragon mount, ready to hunt down some dinos. Now the Solar Engine are doing decent damage to the White Lines, but they are, but remember they do have that 30% of missile resistance, so that is 30% mitigated. And they're holding on just fine, being high elves and having decent leadership. Breath attack from Imric here, trying to roll some Salamander Hunting Pack, giving them a taste of their own medicine, and now Imric is backing off. Not that the Salamander Hunting Pack does much against the Dragon, which has 25% missile resistance and 25% fire resistance. So half of that damage is mitigated regardless of the anti-large. And on top of that, the 90 armor, which mitigates even more of that breath. Flaming attacks of the flaming anti-large attacks, non-armor piercing of the Salamanders. Now let's fast forward a bit here as the White Lions are clashing into the Skinks here, trying to grind down on those Skink Wood, and on the flank, Fireborn charging into Koan Spear Riders and absolutely obliterating them on the charge. I almost feel like the Koan Spear Riders didn't get a good charge onto the Fireborn. On the other side here, Koan Spear Riders also probably didn't get a good charge on the Dragon Princes either, and both Dragon Princes got a victorious engagement against the Koan Spear Riders, especially when the 5-1 got a regrowth. And now the White Lions breaking through the Skinks just fine, and the Koan Spear Riders unable to hold off those Fireborn as they are now moving on to attacking the back line of the Lizardmen. There's still more Koan Spear Riders trying to save their back line, trying to save their missile damage. Not that it does much against the, not that the fire damage of the Salamanders do much against the Fireborn and Imric. So yeah. I feel like Salamander Hunting Packs is just not a great pick in this matchup, honestly. But overall, seems like the High Elves are getting an upper hand now, killing the Skink Priest, and the Kai is sitting back, not exactly actively engaging in combat, and kind of wasting his melee power. And yeah, it is down to the double Solar Engine to just blast all the infantry, and the Kai to maybe fight off the enemy cavalry and monsters. But overall, the Dragon Princes are just cleaning up everything now. Fireborn took another fight against the Koan Spear Riders, and yeah, they're getting whittled down in terms of HP, but they have earned back their worth anyways. Or almost earned back their worth? I think they have earned back their worth. But yeah. And it is down to Kogar and the double Solar Engine, which is blasting. Oh, the dragon is in the weird, clunky attack animation again. It's getting stuck permanently midair. Not that it matters, we're just gonna go into fast forward here. It's down to the double Solar Engine, as the High Elves are just cleaning up all the stragglers of the Lizardmen troops due to their mobility advantage, getting a rear charge into whatever regrouped infantry the Lizardmen got. And Grogar is putting up a good fight with the Solar Engine fighting shoulder to shoulder, but the second Solar Engine is also bogged down in melee now, and the first Solar Engine goes down, army losses hit, and that shall be the end of this battle. Yeah, unfortunately, Salamander Hunting Pack is just not great against the... Yeah, it's just not great against the High Elves due to all the fire resistances on the Dragon Princes. Great damage from the Dragon Princes and the Fireborn there, breaking the Koan Riders. Yeah. Punching through the Koan Spear Riders with Imric's support, and then getting to the back line and shutting down the Salamander Hunting Pack. Plus the White Lions are just such a good unit against the Lizardmen. Skinks can't win those fights. Even the White Lions are down to half health. And And the Spear Riders were just not having a good time against Dragon Princes and the might of Imric's Dragon. I was quite surprised that the Dragon Princes, the non-armor piercing regular Dragon Princes, actually won against the Cohen Spear Riders. That was because like, how do they out-trade those armor piercing anti-large? Let me just quickly have a look again. Excuse me, I'm just gonna quickly have a look at that, and then we can move on to the next replay. Alright, let's fast forward here. And it is quite a long setup phase, because I think Ray's one quite signature move of Ray's is he really likes to shift his formation towards one flank to put the pressure onto the enemy side and force them to shift their formation as well, and forces them to expose their weakness, or just forcing a mistake out of their opponent. But yeah, Cole, one Spear Riders. Oh, a downhill charge. And a flash to stop. Oh, that's what, I didn't know. I didn't realize. I thought there's just I thought there's only regrowth on the Mage of Life. There's also a flash to stone, giving them additional physical resistance, and because they already have 20% physical resistance, that brings the Dragon Princess up to 80% physical resistance, mitigating most of the damage coming in from the Cohen Spear Riders, while they themselves getting a downhill charge, having high charge bonus, obliterating the Cohen Spear Riders on impact. That explains. Very nice combo from Race here, combining with and then combining with the melee attack bust from the Dragon Horn. Very nicely done from Race. All right, that explains why they won that initial charge. Nice, very cool tech from Race there. Next up, Lizardman versus the Undead. Once again, VM Flower bringing an interesting build. 2 Karn Wraiths. 1 Blood Knight, 1 Black Knight, the Regiment of Renowned Varix Reavers, an Unholy Lowstone Corpse God, and Necromancer with the Forbidden Rod. And yeah, as for the melee killers, double Terrorgeist, I believe that's a Strigoi Vampire Lord on a Terrorgeist, and a bunch of chaff in the form of zombies and skeletons. Alright, let's load in and see what exactly is that Strigoi. Yep, Strigoi Vampire Lord on a Terrorgeist. That's it for the army build on this side. For the Lizardmen, a front line of Skirmisher Skinks, and then the second line of Skink Cohorts, a third line of more Skinks, one of them the cohort of Solchak protecting 3 Salamander Hunting Packs, and then 2 more Cohen Spear Rider units and a Reproductile Riders, Regiment of Renowned Colossadon Hunters, ready to fight some monsters in the skies, and they should be able to get a good trade into Terrorgeist. Leading the army is Master Mundi with Apotheosis Net, and that's about it. These are bound, spellcasting, ruination of cities, and banishing, ready to nuke enemy infantry. And the Javelins plus Salamander Hunting Packs are already doing some really good damage to the poor Terrorgeist, who is not the fastest flyer, and also is a pretty big chunk of monster, quite easy to hit from with the missiles. And our projectile riders are just flying straight towards the Terrorgeist, seeing that there's nothing to support it mid-air, trying to get that surround onto the Terrorgeist. Terrorgeist, is it trying to land? Yes, it's trying to land, trying to get the support of the Khan race and just keep those Colossal Hunters away from the Terrorgeist. But that's not helping it against the Salamander Hunting Packs at all. They're getting blasted, and while at the same time Javelins and Blow Dot and fiery saliva from the Salamander Hunting Packs are all just lighting up those zombie front lines, softening them up so that the Skink Cohorts can have an easier time to break them. At the back though, Khan Wraiths managed to catch these Cohen Spear Riders and are starting to drag them down with their fully armor-piercing damage. And yeah, Varix Reavers running out of the forest. Lance's couch, and with the Blood Knights providing support as well. Khan Wraiths piling in, and these Cohen Knights are in for a pretty tough time. But the Strigoi Vampire Lord getting absolutely obliterated by Net of Emmental. Being pinned down and then lit up by the Salamander Hunting Crabs because it is on a Terrorgeist, fire weakness from the regeneration and also being Strigoi. The regeneration is really hurting it against the fire damage. The 30% fire weakness is quite rough for the Strigoi Vampire Lord. Goal King of Oshiran has been activated to get some healing, but it has been cut down by half by the fire damage, and the Colossal Hunters are on the ground trying to hound that Terrorgeist. They themselves are taking a lot of damage since the Blood Knights and Varix Reavers are in the vicinity, and they themselves are pretty glass cannon to begin with. On the far side though, Current Wraiths and Skeleton Spears and all the Zombie Chav are losing those melee engagements against all the Skinks and Koans. And the only strong pocket of the undead left on the ground are pretty much just these Varix Reavers, Blood Knights, and this half-health Terrorgeist. Strigoi Vampire already has his field captain in sight and a deadly ruination of cities, nuking off two very healthy units of undead troops, Current Wraiths and Skeleton Spears, both down to less than half health and are very fragile. A crit horror summon has been dropped in by the Strigoi Vampire Lord, trying to duke it out against Skinks, but yeah, unfortunately this is getting more rougher and rougher for the undead. Masmundi is still very much healthy, though he is not much of a melee concern here. It is pretty much but at the same time the Skinks are slowly breaking apart, and now the Salamander Hunting Crabs are under melee threats. They are the only way that the Lizardmen can kill off the undead, but I'm not sure what they can do against all these cavalry now that the Cohen Spear Riders are gone, pretty much. Strigoi Vampire Lord is now fighting in the middle of a bunch of triples that box down the Colossal Hunters, and now Blood Knights come in and finish off the rest of the Colossal Hunters. Skinks and Salamander Hunting Crabs are still trying to kite back using the Skink Javies, who have run out of ammo, to maybe screen off the enemy infantry and buy some more time for the Salamander Hunting Crabs to keep firing. And the Strigoi Vampire Lord, oh no, straight too close to the Lizardmen formations, and now getting blasted by those firepower. Net of Emmental, once again, if there's another volley of Salamander fire coming in, that's the end of the Strigoi Vampire Lord. Yep, there is another volley coming in, more and more damage, but nice command from the Strigoi Vampire, from Flower here. Dropping the Strigoi Vampire onto the ground, dodging half a volley of the fire of the Salamander Hunting Pack, and barely keeping the Strigoi Vampire in the fight there. The leadership is crumbling, but also at the same time, Goal King of Oshiran has been activated, getting some HP back for the Strigoi Vampire Lord. The Crypt Ghoul Summon is probably not going to be long for this build. Balance of Power is still in favor of the Undead at this point, because of the healthy mobility they still have. The Varix Reavers are self-regenerating. They are just constantly fighting with not much to threaten them. Blood Knights are also very much healthy, and that might be the key to victory for the Undead here. Goal King of Oshiran now back to a quarter of HP, and all the Salamander Hunting Packs are threatened by all kinds of melee, unable to stay in a safe firing position and unable to use up their ammo to dish out damage. A very strong start from the Lizardmen, but unfortunately not quite able to hold on due to only having Skinks to protect the back line. And the Koans got out-traded quite early in-game. Alright, we can fast forward here, as it is pretty much just cleanup action with the mobility. You can see the Varix Reavers and Blood Knights are pretty much unstoppable. Salamander Hunting Packs just don't have the time and space to fire. The infantry of the Undead are still fighting, while the Skinks are quite whittled down, and it is pretty much a matter of time before army losses happens. As, yeah. The Undead simply win out on the mobility, and the Salamander Hunting Packs did some very impressive damage. Just unfortunately, the Undead outlasted the flank protection there, just breaking through the Cohen Spear Riders with the help of the 100% armor-piercing Conraves, and the mobility overloading that one poor Spear Riders, and then the remaining protection for the Salamander Hunting Packs are just the Skinks, and the Skinks can't really stop the charge of a bunch of heavy cavalry. And the Reproductor the Colossal Hunters themselves are quite glass cannony and can't really stay in a prolonged fight against all these high charge bonus anti-large cavalry as well. And yeah, despite having a pretty rough start with the Strigoi Vampire Lord, he still survived, and with his insane survivability to Gold King of Osharan. It's essentially a regrowth with no Winds of Magic needed. Bringing in the Strigoi, just constantly keeping the Strigoi Vampire Lord alive. And yeah, very nicely done from VM Flower here, getting the win. Yeah, the Skink simply wasn't quite able to protect the back line against all the Blood Knights, Varix Reavers, and Karn Wraiths pushing in. And of course the Terror Guys constantly healing as well. And once the Salamanders are offline, there's nothing to threaten the Terror Guys or the Blood Knights. Alright, next up we have yep. We can delete that as well. Beastman versus Norska. Beastman once again got a bit of adjustment to their army build. No more Cygor, this time instead we have Bastigor, which unfortunately also not a good unit. But yeah, at least we are seeing some variation in the formation here. Only one Razorgore, but the rest is pretty much still the same. And also only one Mino. One regular Great Weapon Mino and one Butchers of Kelkingar. On the other side, Norska Wolfric, probably on War Mammoth once again. 3 Marauders, 2 Marauder Champions, 3 Javelins. Oh, now we're on the nighttime of the Ashen map. 2 Angkor Raiders with their rather cheap and cheerful missiles. Senegals throwing axes. Oh wait, no, these are base Beastmen. For the Norscan army here, Skin Wolves on the flanks. And 1 Ice Wolves, 2 Ice Wolves. Wolfric on the Mammoth mount. Shaman Sorcerer 5 with Burning Hat and Flaming Sword Ruin, in case they need some extra fire damage against regenerating troops, mostly just Butchers of Kelkingar. And yeah, that's it for the army builds. Holy shit, the visibility is absolute crap on this map at night. But yeah, a rather premature boat. Seafang doing minimal damage to the Bestigor. Probably want to wait till they actually commit before casting it. Ooh, really nice micro from the Beastman here, stopping right before that Burning Head, that preemptive Burning Head. And instead just waiting for the Marauders to just run straight into the Burning Head casting range and get burned by their own spell instead. And yeah, this Burning Head seems to be hitting the next unit of Marauders and singeing these, absolutely obliterating these Marauder Hunters as well. That was quite unfortunate for Norska. Missing both of the wind abilities that could have severely damaged those Beastmen front line. But anyways, frontline engagement is going, and unfortunately, the Beastmen, unfortunately for the Norskins, the Marauders who have got burnt by their own burning gas is not holding on. And one of the Marauder Javelins also got dragged into melee for some reason. That was a bit of a mistake in my story. And on top of that, Malagor the Dark Woman dropping in more damage dealing spells. That Pendulum, nuking, and those poor Marauders. The Marauder champions are holding, but they're fighting against allocated entity Escalors. And both have like roughly similar melee stats. So with the armor piercing of the Bestigor, they are getting a slight upper hand. Slight upper hand, but still an upper hand in the fight. And then the Angkor Raiders just keep firing. Oh, this might be a deadly Burning Hand. Hitting one Angkor Raider and might hit the second one. Oh no, it curved away from the next Angkor Raider. That was quite unfortunate. But at least Wolfric is still holding on the front line, not actually getting threatened by much missiles and just terrorizing some chaff. But yeah, on the flanks there, the Marauder Hunters are being pushed back, but now the Skin Wolves have moved around the flank and now into position to deliver some flanking charges. They have not seen much action so far. Quickly breaking the Razorgore and now pulling away from the Angkor Spears, trying to get another. Oh, this looks like a miscast Pendulum onto pretty much nothing. That was quite unfortunate. Has all Seafang been used? There's still 1 cast of Seafang left. Yeah. So there's only 1 Seafang we've seen so far, which missed their target. These Skin Wolves need to keep running away because they don't want to get dragged into this anti-launch infantry blob. Flock of them onto the Javelin Hunters, trying to drag them down and reduce that anti-launch firepower on the Norskin side. But Skin Wolves might still be the key here to win the game for the Norskins. Norskins having those Ice Wolves and Skin Wolves clearing out the enemy Senegals who are throwing axes. And if these Ice Wolves can catch the Senegals throwing axes here, the Skin Wolves and Ice Wolves on the other further away can probably just catch up and finish them off as well. Overall, it is quite even on balance of fight. Another Emerald Pendulum trying to nuke down those hunters. Might want to just save the Winds of Magic to drain down the Marauders when they blob up, but it is what it is. But yeah, Flock of Doom definitely the more effective anti-blob spell, anti-infantry spell. In terms of cost effectiveness to Winds of Magic. And again, you want to cast it against units that are blobbing up because it will apply to multiple units at the same time. Basically tripling that damage output compared to using it on only one unit. So that was quite an unfortunate cast again on the use of the Flock of Doom, which probably could have made a lot of difference here in this kind of late game scenario where both sides are running low on troops. But yeah, Bestigors are actually doing something here, winning out in the frontline engagements against Marauders and Marauder champions with the armor piercing and more superior melee sets than regular Beastman troops and Witches of Calvingor, killing a bunch of Angors and just winning those a little bit of engagements. But the problem is, how are they going to kill off 3 units of skin who are still very much healthy? And they're now cleaning up some more Angor Raiders, just whittling down those. Now this is a good Flock of Doom, hitting everything in the vicinity on the Norskin side, and all these Marauders are on the routing. One final Seafang, but unfortunately not doing a whole lot of damage against Beastmen because they don't have a lot of troops blobbing up. Maybe some damage against the Vestigors, but yeah. Wolfric is fighting on hard, and there is a Flaming Sword of Ruin, which is really good here. As an anti-large Skinwolf are fighting it out against regenerating Minor, which is a Falcon Guard who has fire weakness. And you can see it's dropping. Their healing is cut in half because of the flaming damage. The Witches of Kalkengard are not happy with this fight at all. Testicle Herds are also taking more and more damage. It seems like, though it seems like the Palace of Fire is still very dead even here. Mostly probably because the Sandygors are still healthy and Malagor is like full health, which occupies a good chunk of the Beastman's balance of power. Oh no, a forgotten Angor Spear is on the far side of the battlefield, overchasing some routed Norskin troops, no doubt. And Beastman could really use that infantry support right now, as the Butchers of Kalkengard are fighting kind of alone against Wolfric and a bunch of Skinwolves. And this is not a fight they excel in because Skinwolves plenty are not a lot of armor piercing, but Butchers themselves not having much armor either. And their armor piercing is mostly wasted against the physical resistance of the Skinwolves. So yeah, the Butchers are slowly fading away. And is that another... Oh, nope, that's a fight or die, boosting the damage output of all these Norskin troops. And Wolfric is winning out on that one. Winning out on that engagement. Now it is just the Skinwolves carrying the day here. Though the Sandygors being healthier than the Skinwolves managed to drag them down quite significantly. But unfortunately, Skinwolves do have that regeneration healing. So they're just slowly regenerating back. And pushing on that balance of power. Yeah. At this... Like, this whole time, the Skinwolves are regenerating, bringing more balance of power back for the Norskins, while the Beastmen losing Butchers of Kalkengard has no healing whatsoever. Oh, there's the one model of Butchers of Kalkengard on field. But mostly the balance of power is quite fraudulent, being entirely upheld by Malagor the Dark Omen himself. He and him alone. And yeah, but of course Malagor the Dark Omen alone cannot win against all these Skinwolves and Wolfric himself, and so that is going to be army losses, or that is going to be victory for Norska. Really nicely done with all the Skinwolves just hanging on to the late game there, just outlasting the Beastmen, despite losing the frontline fight with all the Bestigor. You can see the Bestigor, despite fighting Marauder champions and Marauders, they still fail to earn back their value, because they're just not great. I mean, heavy infantry in general is just not great in the current meta. They have to wait for their opponents to bring the fight to them, having not having much speed and have no range at all. And yeah, and they're quite expensive too, so that does not give them any benefit in any trades, often bombarded by magic or missiles or artillery bombardment. So, and Wolfric carrying the game with all these Skinwolves, just curb stomping some poor Beastmen. And Malagor the Dark Omen definitely could have used some better spell casting, but yeah, this definitely would come as you play more and more in multiplayer. But yeah, right now seems like the Butchers of Kalkengard tried their best and but unfortunately not quite able to bring this game back for the Beastmen. While the Sandygors, these guys did a lot of damage with their skirmishing, whittling down the enemy whittling down the enemy skin wolves and whatnot, and even get a decent charge in the end against the skin wolves. Just unfortunately not quite able to bring this game back. A lot of their damage dealt to the skin wolves have just been healed back up with the regeneration. And one very nicely used Marauder Hunter with javelins almost earned back twice their units worth. But the infantry not quite able to win out against a superior Bastigor line. For once, Bastigor actually did something useful. Alright, let's jump into this round 1 battle between the VM Flower and Rusto with the Nurgle troops. Flower here going with wait, do we have any more replace? I don't think so, right? Alright, yeah. No, nothing. So Vampire counts with Flower going with both are very grindy build, actually. Wait, is that Epidemius? No, that is Epidemius. Yeah, that is Epidemius. How the fool? I mean, that is definitely a meme build here. Nobody in their sane mind brings Epidemius to a game unless they're just trying to troll, including myself. So yeah, zombies for the front line for Vampire counts, and the second line of Sternsmen, Grave Gods, and Skeleton Spears with a single unit of Crypt Horrors. It's a very grindy build as there are multiple sources of passive regeneration. Double Corpse Guards, one with Balefire to apply that fire damage and cut down on that Nurgle healing by half. And Necromancer here with Forbidden Rod, and I think it's an unholy... Nope, that's not an Unholy Lowstone. Just raise that spell and Forbidden Rod plus a Mortis Engine, which does give passive healing, but more importantly drain down the enemy unit's HP. Double Terrorgeist once again with the Strigoi Vampire Lord with Invocation of Nahak, Command of Unliving, which is a Ghoul or Crypt Horror summon. And Ghoul of Vashran. We've seen how ridiculous that healing could be. But essentially a free regrowth costing 200 gold. Or 150? Not quite sure. Depends on how much the ability is sold on the unit selection screen. Guard pack for mobility, and that's it for the undead. Or on the Nurgle army, a whole line of Plague Bearers. A lot of Plague Bearers with one... Yeah, it's just Plague Bearers, never mind. No Exalted Plague Bearers at all. Barons of the Bog, though, providing a pretty nice mobility and mass to pin down enemy troops. Guarding Epidemius, and I have no idea what Epidemius can do against an undead healing blob. He doesn't... He's shit. He costs so much, but he himself doesn't do much. In melee, he doesn't cast spells, and his abilities, it's quite limited in terms of effectiveness. Looks like the Terrorgeist Breath attack will be focusing on the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle here, just trying to nuke down on that passive healing as soon as possible. Not that I don't think they can kill it in time. Actually, there's one Exalted Plague Bearer at the very back line here, Festering Stooges, ready to snipe out some key troops of the undead, and also some Nurglings, providing more mass and bodies. Right, seems like a pitch engagement has started, with Barons of the Bog absolutely plowing through those zombies. It's a mess with all the effects going on right now. But a sense of sickness lowering the melee stats of all of these undead troops. At the same, lowering the melee defense and speed, at the same time giving those Nurgle troops that melee reflection. But not that it matters anymore, since it has worn off on the Nurgle troops, so it's still applying. Is this still applying the effect? Nope, not applying the effect to the undead anymore, so it has worn off. But yeah, trying to give the Nurgle units a little bit more support using that Epidemius ability right here. They're back charging into the back of these Festering Stooges, but not doing a whole lot. More spell spamming from the double Terrorgeist, trying to whistle down their health, and yeah, it's a blobby mess right now. Plague Bearers should have no problems winning against the zombie and the skeleton and dead chav, but the problem is the Mortis Engine is nearby, just draining them down. But there are some Exalted Plague Bearers, which is summoned by Epidemius here, and can be quite useful in just dishing out some damage. But at the same time, the undead counter-summoned zombies are being dropped onto the Exalted Plague Bearers and stopping them from shooting because they're not dragged into melee. That was quite unfortunate. Oh, there's still some shots are able to reach in the Mortis Engine, but most of them are just directly to melee now, so I'm able to shoot at the Mortis engine and moving around the battlefield. But at the same time, the Mortis engine isn't engaging melee, so they're not draining down the health of the Nurgle troops, while the undead are being slowly grind down. Stunsmen though should be able to hold on just fine against Plague Bearers and Nurgle. And the Festering Stooges have used up almost all their missiles, so they're no longer threats to the Mortis engine, who is now engaging in melee, trying to heal itself back up and drain down the enemy troops at the same time. And yeah, it is a lobby fight, and I might actually just fast forward this thing, because it is a very unpleasant blob of death and decay at the same time. Alright, Kurtors are charging in, another sense of sickness hitting everything in the vicinity, both friendly and foe. While Epidemic is getting hunted down by the double terror guys. He is a March model, so he is vulnerable to the anti-arch bonus of the double terror guys and taking a lot of damage right now. This means it is time for a Fleshy Abundance to heal him back up, though it's not going to help him much against two superior melee combatants. The Bilious Thundergull, the Chaos Giant of Nurgle, is not doing a whole lot. Getting some okay damage out, but he is Epidemius is desperately needing some help here. He probably should just come back and save the leash. But yeah. Is that miscast damage? That's a miscast damage of some sort. I'm not sure of what. Is there an invocation of the heck going on somewhere that I'm not noticing, or did he just overcast? Oh, but never mind. Anyways, Epidemius is going down. All the healing is not saving him from the double terror guys, the breath attack snipe, and just melee diving as well. But we were just gonna keep fast forwarding here. It's a slow grind. Another Fleshy Abundance onto Epidemius, desperately trying to keep him alive. Finally, the Bilious Thundergruff came back and just protecting the characters. And the Plague Bearers are indeed winning in the grind against all the zombies and skeletons, which means the undead no longer have much chaff to rely on, other than the Stonesmen holding the line against the enemy melee grind. So this might be the only chance for the Nurgle army to bring this one back, but Epidemius has reached his healing cap. He's trying to infect everything with melee defense debuff and give their friendly troops that melee deflection, but at the same time, yeah, he's still getting sniped by the double terror guy. So the the Thundergruff is back, trying to slap down the Strigoi Vampire Lord. But yeah, I think Epidemius is just gonna go down soon. Let's see. How much damage can Mortis engine get? 2,200 gold worth of damage value. Nurgle simply don't have any options to kill off the Mortis engine. So yeah, it is just gonna be a matter of time before it is a blob of healing versus Mortis engine. We have the blob healing of the Sorcerer of Nurgle there, which is kind of yeah, it is 100% intensity, but at the same time being countered by the health drain of the Mortis engine. So that was quite unfortunate. Strigoi Vampire Lord is diving down, yeah, and the Grave Guards are out-trading the Festering Stooges. Stonesman being the superior melee combatant with anti-infantry and regeneration at the same time, and being healed up by the Unholy Reliquary of the Mortis engine. So yeah, that is just gonna be the victory of Vampire Encounters, outgrinding Nurgle, outgrinding Epidemius, which is not exactly a surprise. Yeah, the rest of the troops are... The Plague Bearers did win against all the undead, but they need to do a lot more damage, especially to the Mortis engine and to the double terror guys, to actually win this game here. Unfortunately, they did not quite able to do that, and Epidemius, a very disappointing performance from a unit that costs like 1,500 gold with his abilities and items. Probably more, since we see 2 abilities and items here. And yeah, the Thundergruff, unfortunately, while still being healthy, just not quite able to earn back their own value, while the double terror guys and basically sniped out Epidemic, sniped out the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle with the breath attacks. Both sides have very inflated damage value. Simply, both sides are just trying to spam healing and giving a lot more HP and damage value for both sides to kill off. And yeah, Mortis engine drained out a lot of health throughout the course of battle, not being threatened by much missiles or powerful melee combatants. So yeah, it is the victory of the Vampire Count. Having superior Mortis engine and grinding tactics, while at the same time having some very strong sniping power. Character sniping power with the double Terrorgeist. Yeah, alright, one last battle between the High Elves and the Empire. I'm just gonna go off after this one, and not that we have any more replays to cast anyways. On one side we have the High Elves with 4 Rangers, 2 Spears, 4 Archers, one of them a light armor archer with the other 3 Sisters of Avalon, 2 Reavers, and 1 Dragon Prince. Leading the army is Tyrion and a Shadow Caster. On the other side for the Empire, that's a lot of very expensive units here. Wait. Steam Tank with a volley gun. Steam Tank with a volley gun, yeah. It's just called Steam Tank with a volley gun. Anyways, a front line of Spears with shields and a second line of Empire Knights guarding 2 Hawkline long rifles. The Royal Out of Graphite supported Royal Out of Graphite and Carl Franz supported by a life caster. The Jade Wizard with only regrowth to heal up all these expensive units. And Empire Knights on the flank. Yeah, that's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. Carl Franz only have Blood Roar and Gal Maraz. And yeah, I don't know how much. I don't think Blood Roar is actually useful here. Piles have high leadership anyway, so leadership debuffs are less effective against them. But yeah. Anyways, a volley gun is opening fire. Trying to blast out some of these rangers, but probably better. Oh no! Immediately, Carl Franz flying too close to the High Elf formation, getting blasted by those Sisters of Avalon. Probably the Steam Tank might want to just get closer to the Sisters of Avalon and shoot them down, because Steam Tank having that directional shield, 100% missile blocking. Yeah, directional shield. 70% of missile block from the front, so very effectively mitigating those archer fire. If they can actually reach the archer and do some good damage, that would be nice. But seems like the Hawkline rifles aren't exactly in range to shoot at the Sisters as well. They might want to move in a bit and start picking off those expensive archers and very devastating archers as well. Anyways, Rangers are getting whittled down by the Hawkline rifles, and they're gonna clash into Spears soon. Carl Franz is diving into the back of these Rangers. And the Steam Tank is falling back, but at the same time he's turned around. So the directional shield is not working against the Sisters' fire, and it's taking a lot more damage against the armor-piercing fire of the Sisters. And immediately the Rangers are getting broken off by the terror from both the Steam Tank and Carl Franz, and the Spears are holding on so strong. Holding on just fine. Illyrian Reavers are trying to get to the Hawkline rifles, but Empire Knights and Royal Out of Graphite easily repelled them. Dragon Princes are stuck on Empire Knights, so that allows the Royal Out of Graphite to countercharge them. And yeah, the Rangers are falling apart all over the place thanks to the terror of the very powerful single entities. But speaking of powerful single entities, Tyrion is hunting down Empire hunting down the Emperor right now, who is getting a little bit of regrowth, but he is on fire, partly due to Tyrion having flaming attacks and maybe straight arrows from Sisters. Nah, it's just Tyrion cutting down Carl Franz healing by half, and that was not great for the Emperor. And now more shots from the Sisters of Avalon trying to work down the Steam Tank. These Spears need to start pushing for the Sisters of Avalon here. They need to start shutting down those expensive missiles. And why is there a Royal Out of Graphite moving away from the Dragon Princes? They need to fight the Dragon Princes. No! Alright, a bit of a mistake in micro there, and also all the mobility committing to right flank means that there's nothing protecting these Hawkline rifles at the back, and one Illyrian Reavers was able to get to the back line, shutting down one of the Hawkline rifles. Spears are pushing up, but they're a bit stuck on the High Elf Spears instead, just wet noodling each other. Carl Franz did manage to beat down Tyrion though, with Gal Maraz boosting his armor piercing and anti-lodge. Now he's pushing through and terrifying Tyrion away, which is quite weird, Tyrion not having immune to psychology. But anyways, Royal Out of Graphite stuck against Spears and some Dragon Princes. They need to pull out of there and maybe find somewhere else to fight. But Empire Knights are getting nuked by that Pit of Shades. Now Tyrion is is fighting Karl Franz again, but this time he might receive some support from the Rangers. Oh, the back there, Steam Tank just got shot up so heavily by the Sisters of Avalon, down to almost no health, and are still getting shot at. Directional shield might be useful, but whenever it turns around, no longer facing the Sisters, it just take a bunch more damage. Hogline rifles are at the back, but now the Archers of Light Armor are in range, moving close enough to threaten them, and shutting them down with long-range fire as well. And anyways, in the middle here, Karl Franz still duking it out against Tyrion, but Tyrion probably is gonna proc that Heart of Avalon soon. Yeah, he's just gonna get a burst heal, and all that work that Karl Franz did will be for naught. Almost healing him back to the kill cap. Oh no, friendly fire from the Hogline rifles, striking the back of the Steam Tank. At least it managed to plow into the Sisters of Avalon. Spears are also in the vicinity, and are threatening the Sisters of Avalon, shutting them down, preventing them from shooting anymore. But yeah, the Hogline rifles are at the back regroup, and now trying to shoot up the archers with light armor. I feel like not prioritizing the enemy archers has been a mistake. Instead of shooting the Rangers, probably directing the fire of the Hogline rifles and the Steam Tank, the volley gun, towards the Sisters of Avalon would have been a better call. Because right now they are the most threatening units against the Empire, with all their armor-piercing fire just blasting the Steam Tank from all sides. And now with the Steam Tank down, they can really turn around and just start shooting at Emperor, who is a little bit stuck on Tyrion. With Galmaros activated, he is winning against Tyrion. And Tyrion can't really activate another. I think it's Heart of Avalon has cooldown, right? 120 seconds cooldown, so you can't activate another Heart of Avalon just yet. The Emperor might actually kill off Tyrion. You can see he's going down. But the Emperor is probably not going to survive this with all the Sisters of Avalon crossfiring and covering for each other. I mean, there's still some Hogline rifles at the back there. The Rangers are threatening them. Just gonna drag them into melee and rout them off. And oh no, an Empire Knight being forgotten on the far side of the battlefield. This could have been so helpful right now to shut down the archers and the Sisters of Avalon, but right now Karl Franz is stuck in melee against two Sisters of Avalon. He has to be in there, otherwise he would just get shot by these two units while he was flying somewhere else. But that's still not helping him at all, because the third unit of Sisters of Avalon will be shutting him down, will be finishing off the rest of the Emperor. And on top of that, Melkov slowing him down, making him even more vulnerable to enemy missiles, and that is going to be the end of the Emperor. That's also going to hit the Emperor's leadership big time. You can see all the troops are already wavering. Well, looks like their leadership stabilized for some reason, but yeah, I don't think that's going to hold on for long, with another bit of shade sneaking those Hogline rifles and more units just rushing towards their position. The spears are still very much healthy, and there's not much else the High Elves can do against the Empire army can do against the High Elves here. And that is going to be GG. That is going to be victory for High Elves, and Race, as a result, managed to snatch a 4th win, securing his top place on this 20. Alright, let's have a look at the army performances here. Tyrion almost, yeah, just taking a lot of one-on-one time against Emperor, but against Karl Franz. But Franz, activating the Galmaras, was able to out-trade him most of the time. Almost killed him twice. Both sides having access to healing, but unfortunately, Karl Franz just got shot and sniped out by all those Sisters of Avalon, which was kind of neglected at the early game there. The Hogline rifles weren't exactly shooting them, and neither is this volley gun of the Steam Tank. So they were able to just sit back and slowly shoot up and peel off every single thing that the Empire army has sent towards the front line there. The spears were being pushed up and trying to threaten them, but in the end, just not quite able to break through the enemy spears, and yeah, that is going to be GG here. Hogline rifles did well, and like the Empire definitely did a lot of damage, but just not quite able to out-damage the Sisters of Avalon, I guess you can put it that way. Yeah, 3 Sisters of Avalon they were able to just focus down these piecemeal threats, like the Steam Tank, the Raw Autographites, and Emperor one by one. And yeah, the High Elves were just not quite able to yeah, the Empire just not quite able to shut them down, lacking the mobility, like mostly committed to fend off Dragon Princes and Illyrian Reavers. Actually, let's just quickly jump back in and see how the steam tank got so low at the early game. But yeah, for those of you who have already seen the battle, feel free to just drop off now, because you've already seen everything. There's no more new battles to cast. And yeah, I just wanted to check, like, because we missed out on how the steam tank died. Not the steam tank died, but how the steam tank dropped so low in terms of HP in the early game. So I just want to have a quick look again. Wait, after this, I'm just going to grab dinner and call it a day. Alright, let's fast forward here. Steam tank getting close. Yeah, the steam tank and Hotline rifles not closing in and prioritizing these Sisters of Avalon was a big mistake. Definitely should have just shot the Sisters of Avalon instead of oh yeah, the steam tank turned around, and the directional shield isn't activated towards the Sisters of Avalon over here, I assume. Oh yeah, it's turning around, trying to plow through the enemy infantry, and yeah, the directional shield only has like half the block chance. 35% block chance, which means it's pretty much double the damage. And yeah, the fact that the Sisters were able to reach the Hotline rifles instead of the Hotline rifles trying to blast out the Sisters from afar was a bit of a mistake in the Empire Micro, I think. Because they definitely could have done a lot of damage to the Sisters if they just focused their time on it. But yeah. They could have done more, but unfortunately it is what it is. And oh yeah, the steam tank trying to rear charge the Rangers, but also exposing your rear towards the Sisters of Avalon. That was unfortunate. Alright, that is it. That is going to be at the end of today's cast. I hope you all enjoy this tournament, whether you have played in it or if you're just checking out the stream and checking out the action on multiplayer as a viewer. But yeah, either ways, I hope you had a good day, and I'll just see you guys next week. Hope you all had a great week. Hope you all had enjoy both the tournament and the stream. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich signing out.